You know, Dale, UPS drivers are among the safest drivers in the world.
That's fantastic.
Well, I'm proud to say that in all my years driving a UPS vehicle, I haven't had one single accident.
Good.
Have you ever been in an accident in your UPS vehicle?
Maybe a couple.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll mark that as an area for improvement.
They weren't all my fault.
Not his fault.
Here tomorrow. Well, I guess I've tipped over. Oh, Jeff Burton has spun it into the wall in turn 3.
You know, my freaking wheel hop. I lost all pedal. The pedal went to the floor, and then it freaking wheel hopped, and you know, boop, 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 and jumped around. The pedal went all the way to the floor.
All right, what he's talking about the brake pedal. And when he talked about wheel hop, what happens is if you get too much rear brake in the car, and you normally can adjust front and rear brake, he's going to be able to drive away with a lot of damage to the rear of that car. The car will just start hopping in the back, and there's nothing you can do to control it. Going off into turn 3, you can see it right there. You can see the rear axle jumping up and down, and you cannot control that race car. We saw Dale Jarrett do the same thing here in the fall qualifying.
Now, he said the pedal went all the way to the floor as we look back at Tony Stewart making a getaway. Listen. You hear that shuddering sound? And that sound.
That was the rear wheel hop.
Locking and unlocking as it locks the brake and then loses traction. Let's listen again here.
I'd say they'll have to go to a backup car probably.
Now, why'd the pedal go to the floor, Larry?
Well, it could be any number of things. You know, I mean, he could have a brake line leaking. I mean, it's something to do, a brake failure, and I'm sure that's the first thing they're going to want to find out, regardless of unloading a backup car or not, is why, A, that pedal went all the way to the floor.
Our producer, Neil Goldberg, points out that's not the pedal you want to the metal.
No, sir.
Not
you
the
use
brake
it a lot, but you don't want it to the metal.
Red flag on final practice at Martin. Welcome back to the closing minutes of final practice here at Martinsville, Virginia. The only incident, Jeff Burton, who said the brake pedal went to the floor as he came into turn number 3. Very hard braking zone. At the rear end chattered, wheel hopped, and without traction, the car spun up into the fence. Listen for the chattering of the rear tires from this onboard view.
Like I say, you've got two things there. I mean, I think the first problem was the brake pedal going all the way to the floor, and we certainly know what can cause rear wheel hop is too much rear brake. Jeff Hammond, but I think you're with the man that was driving that thing.
Yes, I am, Larry. Jeff Burton, in-car camera showed pretty much what we heard you say already. The car wheel hopped down in the corner, got away from you. From your perspective, what went on?
Well, we were on a long run. That was about our, I don't know, 35th or 40th lap, and drove into 3, and the brake pedal went all the way to the floor. Like the front brakes had gotten hot or something, but it went all the way to the floor. And of course, when it went all the way to the floor, the one thing that works in is the rear brakes, and it wheel hopped. I got off the brakes to try to keep it from wheel hopping, but I was so far down in the corner that there was nothing I could do, and I actually even stabbed the throttle there for just a second to try to get it to quit wheel hopping, because I knew it was in trouble. I had to try something, and of course that didn't work out. But
car in the wall.
And hard. Andy Hillenburg slammed it with the right front in turn 3.
Caution is out.
Joe Ruttman has gone to the garage, and it gives us a second as we check on the condition of Andy Hillenburg to talk about the difference in a term that's come up this year.
Andy, all right?
We'll check on that in a moment. Little damage to the right rear, heavy damage to the right front for Andy Hillenburg. That used to be a sign for MW Windows, but Andy Hillenburg hit it hard and broke into the first caution of the day. And here's what happened to his triplet for Congress Ford.
If you watch, he just locks up the front tires. Now, one of two things: he got too much front brake and locked them up, or the throttle may have stuck on the thing. But it looks like he just locked up the brakes.
And Andy's okay. He did not respond to the radio transmission before we went to break, but he climbed out okay. There's Andy, and his new impact suit, and that was quite an impact. But you can see that Andy's okay. And the term we were going to mention, the term has come into use, field filler. And it started last year in the Busch Series about some cars who would start the race and park, and we occasionally do see that. But the comparison to the independents, fellows like Henry Gray and Jimmy Means and J.D. McDuffie, is not an apt comparison. There are fellows here.
500 laps.
100.
He's in trouble, though. I mean, we're hearing maybe he's got a left rear tire that's flat, and right now the problem is he's trying to get to the bottom where he can get to the entrance of pit road in turn 3.
He made contact with his teammate, the 30 car, and that cut the tire down. These fenders stick out far enough now that they just rip their left rear tire when they make contact.
Now it's down on the rim.
Yeah, he's going to stay out there, and hopefully he wants it.
He's about to lose it. It's still come around right in front of Hermie Sadler. The caution is out. If he can get it going, he can stay on the lead lap, but I don't think he's going to get it going.
He'll get the break. He'll be only car lap down.
I believe you're right.
I think he'll have to wait. I don't think you can get the free pass if you are the car that brings the caution out. We'll have to check on that.
And we will.
Come on around.
In the garage, Joe Ruttman and Andy Hillenburg. By the way, Hillenburg's been released from the infield care center. He is okay after pounding the wall in turn 3. Now here's the first contact Darrell spoke of.
Yeah, the 30 car, he get together right there. They start banging on each other. They make enough contact. That left rear tire sticking out there. Left rear, right front usually causes some kind of damage.
From Johnny Sauter's on board. Ooh. And from Hermie Sadler, there's Robbie Gordon's spin right in front of Hermie.
And that slow spin like that makes it difficult to decide which way to go.
Now, since he was not a lap down at the time of the caution, he's not eligible for a free pass. Steve Burns.
And Mike, that left rear is just flat, sitting on the racetrack to put 4 tires on Robbie Gordon's Chevrolet. He did say that his own teammate, Johnny Sauter, got into him, causing the flat tire.
Remember how the rule is applied. The first car 1 lap down at the moment of caution gets the free pass. He wasn't a lap down.
Good point. It's gone. We're still about 30 laps from pit stop.
Schrader pounded the wall on the front straightaway. Caution is out.
Caution is out.
That car hit the wall about 150 feet before the start-finish line, and then just went into a series of spins and ended up with the right front trashed on the Schwann's home service 49. Kenny's all right. He's dropped the window net. Let's see what happens. That's Kyle Petty behind him. No contact. Oh,
yeah.
Joe Nemechek in the 01 car moved down right into Kenny Schrader in the 49.
Yeah, Kenny was down the inside, and Nemechek in the 01 just turned it dead left and got into Kenny right there. You can see he was making such a run on Kyle Petty in the 45 that he had to get out behind him, and here come Kenny.
And this was right in front of the leaders.
Hermie Sadler's view. And here's Schrader climbing out at a track where he thought he could have one of his best results of the season, mirroring Bristol. Not today.
Tell you what, this was a huge break for people like Scott Riggs, Kurt Busch, Hermie Sadler, who's still on the lead light, Scott Wimmer, Kyle Petty. Big break for those guys.
And the free pass car will be the number 15 of Michael Waltrip. The Advance Auto Parts 500, 120 laps complete. I know I had it earlier. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway, where caution has just flown for rookie Scott Riggs, who spun his Valvoline Chevy coming off turn number 4 down to the inside of the front straightaway. Traffic oncoming, and caution resulted. Riggs will be on the right side of your screen coming into the picture.
Oh yeah, Kyle Petty couldn't go, and here comes Michael, and Scott Riggs had to pay for that.
It's what happened. 2 cars in front of him is what started all this.
This right here beats all I've ever seen. Tony is the 12 car passed Tony. Tony didn't like it. Same kind of thing he did to Rusty earlier. Maybe he thinks that's Rusty.
But Darrell, the thing I'm going to say here at lap 162, when Tony Stewart bends his radiator ductwork up or busts the radiator in that race car, there's no sense in that going on here at lap 162, battling for 9th position.
No, I didn't quite get that.
Riding with Kasey Kahne, Dodge front runners in this race at 162 laps. Jamie McMurray in third, Rusty Wallace fifth, Sterling Marlin sixth.
You know, when Kenny Schrader wrecked here on the front, Kyle was coming off of turn 4, had to check up a little bit. Nemechek swung out from behind Kyle and hit Schrader.
That's right.
This time Kyle's coming off a turn
where they do have team orders, but the big trouble. Brendan Gaughan goes around. Here comes the leader. He gets out of the throttle. That's a break for Kyle Petty, who is ahead of Jeff Gordon at the moment of caution. Not sure about Ward Burton, whether he'll remain on the lead lap or not after Brendan Gaughan's spin.
Hold your steady there.
I tell you, Brendan did a good job. He spun that thing around. It was headed right for the fence, locked it down. He got a big boot, though, from the 25 car. That's what sent him around, Brian Vickers.
Riding with Hermie Sadler right here. We're not sure. He may, I think he'd win a lap down, but he possibly may be the free pass car. We'll just have to see after they unravel it.
See how they sort it out. We're talking about Ferrari Durrell team orders. Here there are no team orders because the cars have different sponsors on the same team, so not a lot of that goes on. Here's what happened going into 3 off, was that Brian Vickers?
Vickers, yeah. Vickers. Look at all that smoke, and I know that doesn't look like a lot here, but when you're out there on the racetrack down in it, can't see a thing.
Here's what Hermie Sadler saw. You see him right behind Jeff Gordon, but I think he's going to be trapped behind Ward Burton at the moment of caution.
That's where the spotters are the most important to the driver when they say, go low, or go high, whatever the situation may be. That's when you really can need a good spotter, like I got, Larry Mack.
That was fun yesterday.
We were doing it there until the 249th and a half lap.
Using your phrase, though, I picked a heck of a week.
Mayfield.
And we have no caution. We have no caution. Caution is out. But Kasey Kahne will just barely stay on the lead lap. Jeff Burton in the 99 car was on pit road completing a pit stop.
Mayfield will get away, but he has killed the left side of that car.
But that was a huge break for his teammate Kasey Kahne, who we had just talked about.
Speaking of Bill Elliott, I saw Bill this morning. He's here overlooking Kasey Kahne's efforts. Ran just down the road at 311 Speedway in Madison, North Carolina. Dirt track about 15 miles from here. Had some fun last night. One of his Evernham Motorsports colleagues finished 4th in that race. But he's having a blast hauling his dirt car around the country and running special events. One of his teammates, Jeremy Mayfield, not so fortunate here.
Oh, no. I don't know if that's too much brake or if he had a left rear tire down. Something caused that car to really snap around. Ooh, that's at about 90 miles an hour. You go down that front straight. That's if you get it slowed down a little bit.
Mayfield to the garage. Speaking of brakes, both good and bad, there's our paperclip speedway. Here's Jeff Hammond at the Ford Cutaway car.
Mike, we keep talking about brakes and technology. Let me show you something right here. DW, you ever seen one of these? This is a single Ford master cylinder that Darrell won a lot of races with. This right here is basically antiquated today. Nowadays, they run a dual master cylinder with a small cylinder just like this. Again, we talk about the adjuster knob so the guys can dial in more front brake or more rear brake based off how the car is feeling. If you're a little bit too loose getting in the corner, dial you some rear in, make the car balance back out. All day long, these guys will be adjusting these brakes to try to save the car as well as make it feel better getting down to these corners.
And Larry, a really sharp guy will know that when he's got fresh tires and a full load of fuel, he can put a little rear brake in it. But as the fuel burns off and the tires give up, you got to take that brake out and put it back on the front or you'll spin out.
But it's only small adjustments on that thing.
A turn.
Racing each other like this. This is good to see. This brings back a lot of memories from Martinsville.
I think Martin just backed off a little early right there and let Rusty get down in there. He knew he's, trouble down here, guys.
Michael Waltrip's around. Morgan Shepherd sneaks by on the high side. Caution waves.
And Michael was freezes. He was up to 13th, and the car looked really good.
What the hell was that all about?
Now, Jeff Burton, the 99 car, he will not be the free pass car, even though he's the 3rd car in line, because Jeff's 3 laps down. We'll have to get a reading. I think it's going to be Ricky Craven in the 32 car that will get the free pass.
See what happened to Michael Waltrip in turn 4.
Oh, gee, he just got the 21 car just went in there a little too hot. and slammed into the back of him. Oh, you see Michael get a little loose, causes him a little momentum off the 2. Ricky didn't lose much momentum. Looked like he might have gained a little.
Ricky almost slid up into Michael. Things happen fast here at Martinsville. We're under caution again in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. Welcome back to Martinsville, where Jeff Gordon, who has dominated, leading 180 laps this far, has a problem with the right front of his DuPont Chevy. He's hit something hard.
Yeah, I think something's hit him hard, Mike, because there's nobody around him. Oh, there's your problem. Here's your problem right here. I think a piece of concrete possibly came up and hit Jeff Gordon's car.
So something off into turn 3.
Something happens right along in there. You see the dust fly up and you see the pieces flying. The track's must have a hole in it right there.
Here's a better look.
Boom, right there.
Wow. Now, the pits have not yet opened under this caution flag. They've been closed for some time, Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon did say that he thought it was a piece of the racetrack that had come up and hit the right front corner of his race car. He is very unhappy, not surprisingly, behind the wheel of the car, feeling that he is having to pay a penalty for the facility on which he is racing this afternoon. Gordon has led the most laps so far today, currently in second spot. He will pit. He will be bringing that car down on pit road so the crew can take a look at it, make whatever repairs are necessary, but most important, to diagnose the seriousness of the problem on the right front. He said he hit so hard it actually jerked the steering wheel out of his hands when it hit.
That had to be quite a chunk. Now we listened in.
Just make sure everything's clear and good, and we'll be okay. Just make sure everything's clear and good there, guys. Go ahead and change the tires also, right? Tempo, we're going to put 4 tires on it. I want to open the hood up and look inside there, make sure it didn't take out anything underneath there. It jerked the wheel out of my hand.
So we're under caution here at Martinsville, Virginia at 290 laps. This one brought out when Michael Waltrip spun off the bumper of Ricky Rudd. Shepard and Kasey Kahne up in turn 4. And I think almost everybody but those two wanted to see this caution.
And I think possibly Michael Waltrip in the 15 car may be the free pass car.
If it is, that's the second time today that he's been a benefactor of that.
Caution's really good news for Tony Stewart, who was less than 2 seconds from being caught by Dale Jr. and going a lap down.
Yeah, they're going to have to bring the 20 car in there and wave a magic wand over it because it's not reacting too well right now.
Michael Waltrip will get the free pass. Kasey Kahne will pit, although pit road is closed. So he'll restart tail end of the longest line. First time we've had a caution flag in 80-some laps.
I gotta believe that Kasey Kahne must have had a tire go down because he's on pit road right now.
But I tell you, we just saw Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He just had past Kevin Harvick for 9th position. This is where that pit spot could be huge over there if he can make some positions up on pit road. We know how hard it is to do on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah, he's back in the hunt now.
Right front trouble for Kasey Kahne as he'll make his pit stop. And the green flag is up in the backstretch, which means that pit road is open for the lead lap.
Around off turn 4.
Scott Wimmer.
Darrell, he locked up the brakes down in turn 1 and 2 at the other end of the speedway, so he was having some sort of problem before he spun up here at turn 4.
Locked up on entry, the thing's dead.
To bring out the 9th caution.
You just heard him say locked up on entry. Because he was all by himself. I just looked up and saw him going around.
Get the tires down.
And I tell you, Brian Vickers, it looks like Jimmy Johnson's teammate will be the free pass. I just believe maybe people like Jeff Gordon, those guys who will watch Scott Wimmer here, see the brakes locking up on him. That was through the last set of corners off turn 2, and I watch him down here in 3 and 4.
Just got loose.
Way back past the center of the corner.
Yeah, he'd have been off the brakes by then. Got up out of the groove a little bit, looked like.
Now, with 85 laps to go, this could be a...
And Harvick, turn 4, caution. No caution. Excuse me. They're going to see if he can get going.
Green, still green.
Go.
He spins it around. We have caution.
They got a caution.
Caution is out. Joe Nemechek in the 01, he was actually already back on the lead lap because he was in front of our leader, Jimmy Johnson, in the 48, and I believe Ricky Craven in the 32. We'll get the free pass.
As that was going on, Rusty Wallace had jumped underneath Ryan Newman and was roughing up his teammate in that battle for a second spot.
I think he'll probably go back behind him because that pass was made possibly after the caution came out. I was watching the 17 and the 29 racing each other pretty hard. And I think the 17 was racing him harder than he was thinking he was going to.
I know we only have 71 laps to go, but as we watch this another angle headed down the backstretch. And look at Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. All this is going on right in front of him. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack.
Root and scoot. And Jeff Gordon is now 9th. As you watch from Kevin Harvick. Ooh, I hate that sound.
You ought to be in there.
You know, Daryl, if I'm Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car, I think I like cautions right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's fewer green laps than I have to run.
I'm not coming in now, I can tell you that.
You have made your bed, you must lay in it.
You got it.
Jimmy Johnson, our leader, with 70 to go. You think you can race the pros? Well, you can online. Our video game is now only at foxsports.com. Keyword games. Yeah, you race the pros. We'll be right back. Jimmy Johnson running right behind Robbie Gordon.
Oh, trouble.
There it is.
17.
Matt Kenseth at 17.
9.
Casey Kahne.
I think it's going to be. I don't think that many guys are going to get in it, y'all.
Daryl, I like what Casey Kahne did. He just cut left and cut away from it and slid down, and I don't believe Casey Kahne made any contact.
I don't think anybody did. I don't believe the 17 did. Matt Kenseth, the 9 looks like he's driving off.
Yeah, we didn't hit anything. We didn't tear anything up here, I don't think. The towing seems like, well, I don't know. I don't think we heard anything. Just watch the tires so they don't come apart here.
That's Matt Kenseth, and he sounds a little surprised.
Yeah, I can't believe he hadn't torn up something. He may have some damage on the right front. I can't tell just yet.
This happened coming out of the tri-oval, and it puts us under the second caution of the day.
Well, the reason he sounds surprised is he went across the start-finish line in 18th and Kahne in 20th, and everybody else was right around him.
Let's see what happened here. 22 car had to check. Well, I guess he's seeing him spin in front of him.
Oh, Casey Kahne got turned by Elliott Sadler. He didn't turn left, he got turned.
There you go.
But for being in the middle of the pack and nobody hit anybody really, pretty lucky.
Get a little different view
Watch
right
the yellow
here.
car right in the middle of the pack.
Ooh, yeah.
Slid up into Kevin Harvick.
Yep. The tri-oval, and then the 9 got turned by the 38 there, Sadler, but that was because they were all trying to slow down.
Saw the Fox tracks there. He was spinning across the finish line at over 100 miles per hour.
And all I saw was that as Kenseth spins, either the front or the back of his car may have gotten into Kenny Wallace, the side of Kenny's car.
Yeah, they made a little contact right there in the 29 car, actually. But I can't stress enough how difficult the tri-oval is. You'd think it'd be a piece of cake, but there's not enough banking there for the kind of speed we're running. Hit a gear and go, baby.
But you know, we had Jimmy Spencer up here yesterday, and he was talking about that being the toughest part of the racetrack. It always feels like it's loose or wanting to have the tail come around there.
We'll come back and double check these cars for damage. We're under the second caution of the day in the Aaron's 499. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
That's it. That took out about 15 of them.
Trouble in turn 3, a huge multi-car crash, and they are still piling in. There's Kenny Wallace down on the apron. Derek Cope, Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace. Among those involved, Rusty getting a push from Terry Labonte.
Man, look at Kurt's car.
Trying to get out of the grass there. Kurt Busch's car is well wrecked, and we are under caution. There is Scott Riggs. The rookie had a great qualifying effort. He started 5th today, and on lap 84. Oh, Kasey Kahne.
I mean, guys, I see a lot of our guys top 10 in points, like Kurt Busch came in here 2nd in points.
And the word is that thus far, everybody is okay. And we talk a lot about the big one, and we've just had it, but Darrell, since NASCAR took a proactive stance on driver safety in 2001, we've not had a serious injury in the big one. What triggers this?
Let's see what happened over here. Yikes. Looked like it, the 20 car made some contact with the 97 getting into 3 over there. And boy, you can see the results.
And Darrell, that happened down low. A lot of those cars were going high, but Kurt Busch went up the racetrack right there. That got about 6 or 8 of them.
Took a pretty hard lick too. Looking down to the inside, just not quite enough room there, buddy.
And up he comes. There's Riggs getting tipped down to the apron, and everybody just swallowed up as those 33-degree bankings clean themselves of cars. They slide down into those who were trying to take evasive.
Saw Kenny Wallace in the 0-0 car hit that outside wall very hard. Remember, they just installed the safer barriers.
And just remember, what goes up has to come down, and they go up, hit the wall, and then down the hill they come.
Riding with Jeff Gordon, it all happens behind him.
What's that? Yeah, the 97 just gets turned, man.
First the top of the track clogs, and then the bottom. Rusty Wallace. Oh, hit his youngest brother, Kenny Wallace.
Man, that was hard. And they're still piling in.
That's Kasey Kahne who just piled in. Let's ride with Kasey Kahne. It's Derek Cope just ahead.
That is a hard lick.
Oh, that one was really hard.
Couldn't see who that was, but we're about to ride with the pinball in all this, which is Kenny Wallace. Lights out. Preliminary indication is that 10 cars were involved in this crash in turn 3 at lap 84. The Wallace brothers, Terry Labonte, Kasey Kahne, Scott Riggs, Ryan Newman, Dave Blaney, Derek Cope, Kurt Busch. I guess we have to add Tony Stewart to that list, whose contact with the 97 ignited that pileup.
Yeah, it was ever so slightly, but when you're entering turn 3 over there and you just brush up against the guy that's in front of you, well, you see what can happen.
Now, all of those were lead lap cars.
You can see on Tony's car there is just absolutely very little damage. It was just a touch, but that's all it takes.
When you're running that fast, it don't take much at all.
And pit road is now open. Matt Yoakum.
24 car hits in the 5th position. No adjustments for both he and his teammate Jimmy Johnson. To Steve.
Matt, 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. No adjustments to that Chevrolet. He said, guys, I'm having fun out here today. Let's go to Dick.
Junior said when he got out of the draft that the temperature went right down to 250 degrees. There is now a rear view mirror on the B post of his car so he can see better from the cockpit. Virtually no tape left on the grill, so there's virtually nothing that they can do to help Earnhardt get that engine to run more cool.
You see right there on our race off pit road, looked like most of the cars, especially after that big wreck, decided to change 4 tires, but Frankie Sauter with Scott Wimmer in a 22 car, they win the battle off pit road, changing just 2 tires.
Good strategy worked at Daytona. I don't know how to work here today, but it worked at Daytona for him.
It looks like Dale Jarrett in 88 car, Mike Ford, decided to leave him out for at least one more lap where he can get 5 points for leading.
And among those who snuck through that crash, we saw Kenny Schrader and Brian Vickers shoot through the smoke and get by pretty much unscathed. A lot of cars going to be hauled back to the garage area after this one.
Back live at the Aaron's 499 here in Talladega following the big one. Kurt Busch involved in that. Let's check in with Jeannie Zalesko.
Well, guys, I guess the good news, Kurt Busch physically okay. Mentally, obviously upset right now. I'm listening to you with the one-word answers, trying to put on a good face and looking forward to next week. But I guess maybe a little frustration with the 20 car?
Yeah, we drafted down the front straightaway together real well. And all race, I acknowledged he was on the bottom lane. That's cool, you know, we drafted together. I was going to call him on Monday. Dude, everything was great. I don't know why he committed to turn 3 as late as he did. He knew he needed to follow me, and now we're here instead of out on the track. It's a bad finish. So far this year, our 2 worst finishes are on restrictor plate races.
Thank you for the time.
In that 42 car, they were not very happy with it.
What goes around?
I say it looks like
Kerry Earnhardt. And I believe everybody else will get by. I don't know how.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
7th yellow of the day at lap 114. The Bass Pro Shops tracker boat Chevy of Kerry Earnhardt.
There was a something was happening over there, bottlenecking everybody up. I'm not sure something happened in front of Kerry, and I think he got punted.
It was like a caterpillar, the way a caterpillar moves, Darrell. Something happened up front. By the time it bowed up and got back down, there was Kerry.
Yeah, we just had documented, I think, talking while we were at break, all 4 Childers cars, including Kerry Earnhardt in the 33, were running in the top 8.
Let's see if we can see what happened here, because I think you'll find that somebody back here, or somebody up here in the front, slows down. Or, there you go.
Michael.
There you go.
Michael came across.
Well, he got hit. He got hit by the 16. Greg Biffle got into Michael, and quite honestly, Kerry hadn't been there. Michael was going to go for a ride.
And they both came across the nose of it was either Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon.
If you watch this, it's 16.
Gordon.
He just gets in there.
Yeah, just right in front of Jeff Gordon. Just clipped Michael's
Jeff Gordon,
left rear.
not. I'm sorry, it wasn't Greg Biffle.
And actually, Earnhardt straightened out Michael.
Yeah, that's what I say. If it hadn't been for Kerry being there, Michael would have been down in the dirt.
He was going to be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Everybody scatters, but no other contact. Earnhardt gets a pretty hard hit with the right rear into the inside retaining wall.
Boy, that's unfortunate for everybody.
And that could have been big once again. I mean, he was right there in front of about 15 to 20 cars coming at him.
And he just couldn't get it woed up before it hit that inside retaining wall.
Johnny Benson in 09, he'll get the free pass. All the cars are back on the lead lap again.
7th caution flag of the day in Talladega. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Mark Martin in the 6th, getting a push from Casey Mears in the 41.
Oh,
we got trouble.
Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car. Caution is out.
I think he's going to save it.
But the caution is out.
Buddy, now, I don't care what anybody says. That's a piece of driving right there.
10th caution of the day, right front down. Watch the 20 car.
Jimmy Johnson's got to run underneath it, Tony, and looks like, I don't know if Tony even knew he was there or not. Boy, this is a great piece of driving.
I tell you what, that's a great piece of work by the safety equipment on that car. Those roof flaps deployed when he got sideways, slowed the speed of the car down.
And as in the earlier crashes, just the slightest touch will send a car spinning.
Yeah, he come up off the bottom just enough to open it up for Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy stuck his nose in there. They made contact.
Darrell, how do you save that car like that?
I would like to say it's luck, but when I see the steering wheel turning, the wheels locking up, releasing, that guy in there, he's staying on top of it all the way to the end. Now, he's going to have a problem here if he tears one of these, if he has a tire come apart and tears his fenders up.
Larry, this may answer the question on who could and who wasn't sure if they could make it on fuel.
Yeah, I'm going to say that last pit stop pretty much made that call, but if any of them were still close, remember we talked earlier, 2 caution laps to 1 green lap. This should definitely put everybody safe. But yeah, he flat spotted most of these tires. You can see right there the left front is flat. As you said, Darrell, he's just trying to get back to pit road where that tire don't come apart and tear the fender up.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that he could save that car. It's a good thing that they got all that pavement down there these days, because we didn't used to have that.
Stewart is 27th. He is still on the lead lap, Matt.
Mike, he just came on the radio, told Greg Zapadelli, he said, if I can get this car back without tearing up the fenders, meaning if the tires come apart and start flapping and tearing up that sheet metal, bolt on 4 fresh tires, I really believe we have the car that can get back up to the front and give Junior a run for his money.
Well, like I said earlier, being back in the pack is not a bad thing, but I don't know if 10 laps is enough time to get to the front.
It'll sure be fun to find out.
We'll know here shortly.
Similar to when Tony got into Kurt Busch that triggered the 11-car pileup, here's Jimmy Johnson just barely nudging Stewart.
Yeah, and you see the bottom comes open, and Jimmy Johnson puts his nose in there. I think Tony was going to try to take his line away.
I mean, just look, the miles per hour. He was sideways starting at 188 miles per hour. He comes across the grass here. He never got slower than about 86 miles per hour during all that spinning.
Well, he's always had incredible car control, and there again, I mean, that's just part of it.
10 caution flags is a spring race record for Talladega, Matt.
Mike Lingerfeld already hit the lugs in the left front. The left front tire was down on the inner liner. They're working on some of the sheet metal on the right side. They throw a hammer to little Mike Lingerfeld. Going to work on that right side sheet metal of Tony Stewart's Chevrolet. Another hammer shot across the front of the pit.
Trying to create a little clearance between the tire and the fender.
That's the biggest thing. They need to make sure that none of those fenders will be rubbing any of those tires when he goes back out there.
Let's join Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond.
Well, Jeff, you were disagreeing with Darrell Walton.
Sailing off into
trouble. Turn. One car around, and it's Brian Vickers.
All right, the caution is out, and we are past the red flag lap. We are past the red flag lap. Remember, the field was frozen when the caution flag came out.
And who at that moment was the leader? We'll have to go back and see.
It would be obviously either Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 or Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Brian Vickers able to drive away after bringing out the 11th caution of the day in turn 3.
Well, there's no debris, there's no problem with the racetrack. I mean, I can't imagine we can't get this thing back started here with 4 laps to go.
The field is frozen at the moment of caution, which NASCAR defines as when the flag waves or the lights come on. They have scoring loops around the track to look at positions of the various cars and video replays to aid them in resetting the field. Can they reset it in time?
Yeah, and based on the last couple of restarts with the 8-car Dale Jr., I don't know if they have to go green-white checker if he can get up to speed as quick as some of these other guys seem to be able to.
Even though NASCAR was sorted out, as you see these two guys behind the pace car, both of them want up there. They want behind. They want to be the first car behind that pace truck.
We are at a point where the red flag would no longer be displayed to stop this race, sort things out. They do announce in the driver's meeting the last lap on which that could happen, and we have passed that point. So either we gather the field up for a restart, or they take a look at how they were running at the moment of caution to decide the finish.
And when you are challenging the call, you pull up beside the guy. So how many challenges do we have here?
Jeff Gordon will be the leader.
And I think they just told the crowd that too.
Scoreboard is not yet changed to reflect that, but that is what we're being told as of the moment of caution. The question will be, can we get restarted?
I think we're going to have a green, white, and checker. That's the way it's looking to me.
Well, to do that, Darrell, they'd have to give 1 to go when they come past the start line, and we're not seeing that indication.
Yeah, this is...
we're now on 3 to go.
We can come by the next time, and I don't know. Don't look like we're going to make it.
If they give them 1 to go next time, that means we would have a 1-lap shootout.
Yeah, it'd be
now,
green,
there's
white,
Brian Vickers. Watch the 25 on the right of your screen.
He gets squeezed in there, and he gets loose, and he gets down in the side of the 41 car, Casey Mears.
Boy, Michael Waltrip, the 15, Ricky Rudd, the 21, just
Ricky,
getting by.
I think Ricky may have eclipsed him.
So now, here's
Gordon.
Jeff Gordon leading, Harvick and Jr.
Yeah.
The car is sideways. And in NASCAR's determination at the moment of caution, that's when they decide who is the race leader. Not at the instant the car spins, but when the caution is issued by the NASCAR officials next door and on the flag stand.
And you got to remember, when they say up over here in the booth, put it out, it takes a second for the flagman to even get it out.
There you see right there, the yellow lights are on. So we pretty much know if we're going to get back racing, we have to get one to go this next time.
Oh boy, that could be disastrous.
And for that to happen, NASCAR needs to make sure that the track is clear and that the field is aligned.
I don't know.
27 lead lap cars.
Looks like the flagman is pretty well committed to the
sponsored Chevrolet. Oh, trouble! Stanton Barrett has hit it hard.
Wow, that did. He killed that car.
Caution is out, of course.
First caution comes at lap 22. Stanton Barrett, the Hollywood stuntman and part-time Nextel Cup and Busch Series driver.
Wrecked off too, pretty hard.
That's a lot of damage right there on the left side. Hope he's okay.
That's a bigger hit than you'll see in the movies. The American Chevrolet obviously done for the day, and rescue workers at the scene. Hopefully Stanton's okay.
Of course, this caution will be a huge break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. that we just had shown. His car can continue to go backwards, and a big break for Scott Riggs, and the 10 car qualified fourth all the way back to 35th.
So we can see what happened here. Looks like he gets up high. Oh, here he comes here. No, oh my goodness. That's a absolute worst thing can happen to you. Snaps and goes back right into the fence. But what I want you to watch is the reason we're freezing the field, reason we got all these controversies going on. Man, this thing gets out of control.
He was loose, Darrell, and overcorrected.
Yeah, that is a hard lick.
Safer barriers installed at this track beginning this weekend. You see them there jutting out from the wall. Good thing.
Yes, sir.
That is a hard lick, even into the safer barrier.
It just snaps. You start to get loose, you correct, and when it comes back, it just goes straight out into the fence. But watch how quickly the safety crews get to the car. And that's why we've come up with this freezing the field and no racing back to the yellow.
Stanton Barrett is out of the car. He's been helped to the ambulance. We'll take the mandatory trip to the care center, but good to see that he climbed out of that car after a hard crash into the turn 2 barrier.
And as you said, Mike, 31-year-old Stanton Barrett, award-winning Hollywood stuntman. He's actually nominated this year for 2 National Stunt Awards.
Maybe 3 after today, Larry. Pit road will be open, and as we've said, this caution flag will be of benefit to a number of Carnival, turn 4, spinning hard, catches another. Kurt Busch collided with Rusty Wallace.
Caution is out. Both those cars very heavily damaged, especially Rusty Wallace in the 2.
That fire will go out. When he fires it up, it'll go out.
That was just raw fuel laying in the exhaust pipes without the motor running.
Kurt Busch spun, and as he came around, slid up into the path of Wallace. Here's Rusty driving away the wrong way back toward the entrance of pit road. Left front down. Probably a good move, Darrell. It'd be hard to make it 2 miles to come around to pit road from where he is.
He and Kurt Busch both went back down here to the end of pit road, and are entering pit road from the normal position, but that was a good move on their part.
Watch the 97 Kurt Busch up high around Jeff Green, way up high.
Gets in some of that stay dry that was put down for the blown engine, and he just comes down right in front of Rusty's path, and Rusty nails him.
And of course, the irony of this wreck right here, remember last week at Talladega, Tony Stewart gets into Kurt Busch, the 97 car, and Rusty Wallace gets sucked up into that crash.
Well, let's ride with Rusty Wallace in the Miller number 2.
See the stay drive flying out from behind the Kurt's car.
Oh, Darrell, no time to react.
No,
none whatsoever.
And Rusty has taken his Dodge to the garage.
I'll tell you, that could have been a whole lot. There's no, I can't believe more cars were not involved. because he came right down in the middle of the field right there.
Kurt Busch is able to continue.
Yeah, I'm not sure it hurt Kurt's car all that badly. Michael's on the pit road here. What's up with this? Got to go under the hood, looks like.
Check it out.
The pits are closed, but he obviously needs to come to pit road for them to check something under the hood. The penalty on the restart started at the tail end of the longest line.
And now Kurt Busch comes to the pit lane after that spin, which was much more damaging to Rusty Wallace than it was to him. Matt Kenseth is our leader at lap 58. Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick are the top 5. Then Kasey Kahne, Mark Martin, Robbie Gordon, Newman, and Nemechek are the top 10. Coming up on 120 miles complete in the Auto Club 500 on Fox, presented by Visa. Working the third caution of the day, this one for Kurt Busch's spin up in some stay dry up in turn 4. He collected Rusty Wallace, and also there may be damage to Michael Waltrip's car. Let's first show you what happened here to Rusty Wallace.
Clear, clear.
Wallace has gone to the garage where he is with Dick Berggren.
He won here in 2001, Mike. Last year, Rusty Wallace finished 3rd. Right now, he is in his trailer. Car is on the other side. How bad is that thing?
It's tore pretty good right now. It's just the front, got the radiator knocked in on it, the front grill knocked out of it, the nose knocked off it. So they're going to get working real hard and try to get the thing back in shape, get it out, try to get some points. But I had a really good car today. If it wasn't for about the first 5 or 6 laps where Stewart and I got together, and he got me in the fence over there and bent the lower ball joint in, then the car went to not handling right. So then we struggled around with it. We still had a pretty good car after that. You know, they were reading off the times. It was an easy top 10 car, but not to be today because of the wreck. But the Stewart guy, man, I'll tell you, I don't know what's going on there. He's coming down the back straightaway with his finger out the window and just give me the bird all the way down the straightaway after he run me through the fence. So I like to take that finger and jam it right up his rear end, I'll tell you that, because he's messing with the wrong guy with that mouth right now. I'm not in the mood for him right now.
Rusty Wallace, obviously very upset, Mike.
And upset to be out of this race after this happened to Kurt Busch. Trying to make the pass, running way high up the racetrack, Darrell.
And as we listen to Rusty's in-car, what Rusty's thinking, he sees Kurt up there. Kurt starts getting in the stay dry right along in here, and it's really heavy off of turn 4. You see Rusty down on the bottom of the track. He doesn't expect anything here, but all of a sudden when Kurt comes around, Rusty stays in the gas, hoping that he can clear him.
Let's watch and listen to Kurt Busch.
Got up in all the quickie dry. It's my fault. There's too much quickie dry up on the upper side of the track. I got in all of it.
Go and see if we go back on the racetrack so we don't lose a lap. All right, just come on in here, Kurt.
They did come in and make repair. Now, not only did Kurt Busch get up in the speedy dry, but something may have gotten into Michael Waltrip's car as a result of all this.
Spin in front of you right there. You see it. Spin in front of you. They're on the bottom. Outside, outside. On the bottom up here. Come on around to the caution. Come on around. Caused some debris into the grill area. Wouldn't have cut a tire. Worried about my radiator.
So they brought Michael to pit road to check that. Now here's Dale Jr. riding through this.
They got front. Back in front of you. High side's clear. High side's clear.
Here's Matt.
The problems for in Busch qualifying yesterday. 3 and 4 is a little more forgiving.
Trouble, Larry.
Kissed it pretty hard with the rear.
Yeah, that's definitely looks like it has backup car.
That started way over in the middle of 3 and 4 there. The car started wiggling through the corner, and he never really caught up with it.
And he was solidly in the show because he was second quickest on his first lap. This happened coming to the checkered flag on his second lap.
Yeah, we should point out there are 45 cars here for 43 spots, and only one of them, Kirk Shelmerdine, does not have a provisional available.
You notice how quickly that car snapped around?
Yeah.
Watch how quickly it comes around. That's just a product of probably a little bit of a hard tire and not a lot of time to catch up with it. She just comes around right there.
And he was almost well up off the corner, almost up on the front straightaway.
But like I said, it started over again. He got into 3 a little hard, and the car started wobbling with him over there, and he never really caught up with it.
Well, that lobster's got a cracked claw, and the tail doesn't look so good either.
Yeah, watch him as he gets down into turn 3 here. You'll see him. He drives in pretty hard. Car just a little loose. See him fighting the wheel. Whoop, 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 whoop. There she went.
Roof flaps come up, but just not enough to keep him out of the outside retaining wall.
Darrell, when that happens, do you stay on the gas? Do you lock the brake? What do you do?
I think, you know, you heard him. You heard the engine revving up. I think if he'd have stayed in the throttle, he might have kept that car off the wall. But he let it. He gave up on it and let it roll back into the wall pretty hard.
So Craven is second fastest on his first lap and gives everybody yet to go something to ponder. Ryan Newman quickest. Ricky Craven, despite this, is second. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway, where the sweepers are out, where Ricky Craven popped the wall at start finish. There is a look at the back of his tied ride. And I don't know, Larry, does that look repairable?
I think they will go to a backup car, and since he did get a lap in, and actually that lap he came across the start-finish line backwards was a 21.80, but if they indeed go to a backup car, he'll still get credit for qualifying wherever he qualifies, and there you see him rolling the backup car out. But because of going to a backup car, he'd have to go to the rear of the field.
Yeah, and just remember, the happy hour is immediately after almost qualifying,
oh,
so he
right.
doesn't have time to fix it, really.
That's the best point. Matt?
Right.
Well, Mike, down here at the 32 car at the back of the hauler, in a 21.80 Ricky backwards, it makes you wonder what it would have been if you weren't going backwards.
Yeah, they don't give you anything for style, do they? You know, it's
at least an 8.5 for style.
I know. I'm disappointed for the guys because they worked hard on this short track car. But on the other hand, we were going after it, and I'm never gonna apologize for going after it. But they'll give me a car as good as this for the race, and we'll get after it again.
And I just spoke with Dave Charpentier, and they are going to a backup. The backup car they did test here at Richmond. It has yet to be run in 2004. To Dick Berggren.
Well, if you're taking over a new ride.
2X open wheelers with 3 poles.
Hold on.
Kahne whacks the wall without posting a time.
And he had been second quickest in practice. Looked like a mirror of Ricky Craven's wreck, Darrell.
Yeah, again, it started back there in the middle of the corner. You start fighting with the car, and it just jumps loose off of 4 here. But he had a good lap going. I was watching him. Thought he was really going to be good.
Killed the left front, pancaked the side, and tore up the back. And as Darrell pointed out, happy hour, final practice, follows very shortly. So there's no time to repair a damaged car. Kahne does come across the line and get a time, but it won't matter.
Just coming up off of 4, and of course you're trying to get up off there wide open to make a great lap, and the back end just hopped out. That's some pretty serious damage there.
And of course, the difference in what he did this on the first lap, so he'll basically have to use the provisional.
Watch him there. See right there, that's getting into 3, right in the middle of 3. He already started to lose the thing. He stayed in the throttle up to that point just before impact. I think I'd have just kept her to the floor and hoped it stopped.
You see the car pretty loose right there already, well back in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, he was chasing around, fighting with it back there.
But now, Darrell, he was down in the racetrack. We expected problems if somebody slipped up high on the racetrack, but he was down in the groove.
But that once you start fighting with it, left, right, even though it may look minute up here, it makes that car just want to get loose off the corner.
And Darrell, I would say with this fresh asphalt, with it having a fair amount of grip, especially back in the center of the corner, these guys are probably picking the throttle up well before the center of the corner almost.
Well, let's check with Matt.
Either they're making these fenders on these cars stronger, or the left rear tire is softer than it used to be.
There you see it right
or
there.
Or left front tire. The left side tires just seem to see all kind of cut down tires this year.
He will make it to pit road this time. all the way down. What you can see how much it's already killed the left front fender, probably drug the sway bar arm off. He's going to be a lap down or better before he even gets to pit road.
And now that we no longer race back to the flag when the caution comes out, Gordon is going to have a tough time making up the at least 2 laps he will lose in the pits. Caution flag is out for tire debris from Robbie Gordon. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And Mike, they weren't even towards the backstretch when the team jumped up on the wall. Robbie Gordon telling them they had a problem. They'll change both left side tires. And as you guys pointed out, he battled back from 3 laps down a year ago, but trouble right off the bat for Robbie Gordon.
He looks like he's only going to go 1 lap down, though.
Yeah, he did. He just lost that 1 lap. He got out in front of the lead car here.
So the caution flag is a break for Robbie Gordon. He loses 1 lap, changing that left front tire. Welcome back to the Chevy American Revolution 400 on FX. Brian Vickers, the pole sitter, leads, and Jeff Green, whose Cheerios Dodge had a great 3rd place qualifying effort, has settled into 2nd. Listen in on Brian Vickers, the race leader.
Get something to drink, take some deep breaths here. Remember, you start the race. You start the race. Done a great job all weekend, done a great job all year. You are the man.
I like that. Pump that kid up. No, it won't take a lot, but no.
Here's Steve.
Mike, Robbie Gordon has been on pit road once, and he's coming back again. They have a fender brace they're trying to cut off. They're afraid the fender will cut down on the tire. Robbie Gordon said just before he came down pit road, I have no idea what happened to that tire. It just went. So again, they're going to have to come back down pit road and get that fender brace cut away.
And you know, Steve, these guys, they start the air pressure in these tires so low, especially on the left sides. I think sometime when they're going back and forth and scrubbing the tires in, they almost roll the thing off the rim.
Now, after he replaced the tire and went back out, you see that piece that's dragging just in front of the left rear tire.
Looks like part of maybe the valence extension. I think it's going to probably come loose here. And he runs over it again.
Cut tire number 2.
There, man.
Jeff Green.
The 9 car just knocked it, just pushed the 43 out of the way.
Jeff Green.
I don't know. I couldn't tell if Jeff got out of the throttle and the 9 got into him.
Well, we're sorry for that, folks. We picked up some live radio conversation and tempers flare. We apologize for that going over the air. But yeah. Jeff Green had a great qualifying effort. He started 3rd, and he has pancaked the left side of that car up against the wall and goes straight to pit road. We'll see if he turns into the garage or not.
Yeah, that caution was a huge break for people like Bobby Hamilton Jr., Dale Jarrett, and Ricky Rudd.
Let's see what happened here. The 9 just goes down there, and
pictures pretty much tell the tale there.
The only excuse I could make for that is I thought he was going to go and he didn't.
Yeah. Kasey Kahne turns Jeff Green around to bring out the 2nd caution of the night at lap 101 of 400. Green's car now behind the wall and the winter net down.
And Terry Labonte in the 5 car had just went a lap down, so when we go back racing, he will get the pardon, the free pass to be back on the lead lap.
Got to back and look at some tape from the lap before.
Yeah, let's see if we can find out the rest of the story here. Here's the 43 behind the 9. That gives him a little nudge.
Well, now, and in fairness, this is what Tony Stewart was asking us to do. He said, you see the result, you don't always see what leads up to what happens that we talk about. And this time, we did.
Guys got to know you got to make a little contact. I mean, that 43, you know, nudged him. I didn't see where it was that big a deal. But, Steve, what'd you see?
Kurt Busch coming down pit road, DW. His crew chief Jimmy Fenix said, you're the fastest thing out there. They're not going to make any changes. Kurt saying, I'm just a little bit loose in on the beginning of a run. So they're just going to put on 4 tires. Nick.
Ryan Newman is in. They're going to try to loosen the car up with about every adjustment that they have available to him. His hand is out the window. He is waiting for a roll of tape to fix that rear view mirror. Matt.
Leader Jimmy Johnson in. They've already made a wedge and track bar adjustment. Jimmy said the car was loose in because the 97's out.
Oh, a tire's out. And everybody misses it getting by, but one is rolling across the end of pit road.
Boy, it's so hard to see that tire. You know, when you're coming down pit road behind another car, that car moves out of the way and it's just sitting there right in front of you, but it did roll all the way out into the edge of the pit lane.
Asphalt's black, so's the tire, so's the wheel. Yeah, and that's not the brightest part of the track.
And the guy in front of you he swerves to miss it, and there it is.
Here's the race off pit road. There you see the tire right there. That's the line that determines who beats who off pit road. Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson. Kurt Busch wins the battle, but they have to split the tire and wheel rolling across. Ryan Newman just gets by it.
Dick is with Jeff Green.
Well, he just waved me off. He doesn't want to talk right now, Mike. He's had a tough time. Realized that the last race out in California, he qualified third. Engine failed on him. Tonight, he qualified third, and he has crashed out of the event.
The errant tire was from our pole sitter, Brian Vickers, to Jimmy Spencer.
Caution is out. That will be a huge break for Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. Now, he raced his way back on the lead lap, and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 should get the free pass.
Yeah, Bobby's got his car running good now. I mean, he's out there in front of the leader, and they were not gaining on him.
Didn't see what happened to Spencer, but there was not a big knot of cars where Jimmy was when he went into turn one. Let's have a look.
Really think he's just struggling with the car. Got lapped at 43, 4 laps there. Just gets up out of the groove, can't stop it. Now he can't steer it, kind of just bounces along there.
Jimmy's had a tough weekend here. Tell you, we talk about who this caution is a huge break for, especially a huge break for Jimmy Finney in that group working on Kurt Busch's car. They lose a lot fewer laps under caution than under green.
That's true. Busch came in here 5th in the point standings. So, Jeff Hammond, they've got to work hard to get that car back out. Show us what they're doing.
We're right now down the Ford cutaway car, Mike. What's going on in the 97, guys? This is a power steering belt. This is the water pump and alternator belt. Now, fortunately for the 97, I don't believe they kicked off the oil belt, which would definitely have damaged the engine. What they'll try to do is replace this belt as well as the alternator and water pump belt, because the car was overheating by pushing the water out. You can see it out the overflow. They're trying to get this car back on the racetrack as quick as they possibly can to salvage as many points as they possibly could. That's what's so important. You can see them guys are slinging wrenches everywhere. Everything's very hot down inside the engine compartment. Think about it like this. Almost 1,000 degrees being put out underneath the hood of that car, plus the radiator about 240 degrees. So those guys have got to be careful to get everything done right. They don't want it to happen again and possibly lose an engine and have to lose more valuable points.
Jeff, they've been behind the wall for 5 minutes, and Kurt Busch right now is 13 laps down as several cars make pit stops, including Brian Vickers, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, and the 09, Bobby Hamilton Jr. We're under caution at Richmond. This is NASCAR on FX.
Night racing at Richmond. Welcome back on FX. This is a Visa race break. Jimmy Johnson, your leader. A quick recap. Things starting rough for Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. Remember, he was in the Busch race in Richmond yesterday, then went to qualifying at Indy back here. And a left front tire go down. Goes to the back of the pack. And then what you expect on Saturday night, Rusty Wallace getting into it with Biffle.
Every time you come to a short track, here you go. Right now, these guys make contact. Rusty gets knocked sideways.
Jeff Green here tapping Casey Kane in the 9 car. And then, I don't know, is this retaliation?
I think so right now when you think about what happened before. But right now, Jeff Green definitely wound up on the short end of that stick.
Talk about NASCAR drivers 360. That follows our race tonight. Here at Kurt Busch leading, but has to pull in. As you just explained, they had some belt problems. Kurt Busch has
right there.
No caution. No, Robbie Gordon in trouble. He must have cut a tire down. The car went straight. Now the caution's out.
38 car, good break for him.
Yeah, he'll be back on the lead lap.
Robbie had something happen to his car going into turn 3 over there.
I just wonder when they got together over there, did they possibly knock a valve stem off or something? Yeah. Make that tire go down.
Well, first the left front, now the right front.
I know one thing, you just can't make a lot of contact. You're going to cut a tire down if you do.
course, these tires do not run the inner liner or the safety shield, so when the air goes out, you're down on the rim.
Right, you only got about 12, 14 pounds in the left side tires when you start, and about 22, 3, 4 in the right front. So it doesn't have a lot of air in it. We're just off of a caution.
See, the car just took off and went straight. I guarantee you, he had the steering wheel turned, but it wasn't turning.
Robbie just hadn't had a very good day. Didn't qualify all that great at Indy. Started his night off bad here, and it's getting worse.
The fourth caution of the evening comes at lap 136, and Robbie Gordon has really wrinkled up the right front of his singular Chevy. This is NASCAR on FX. Pit stops continue into the fourth caution of the night. The Chevy American Revolution 400 at Richmond. Most of the leaders stayed out. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, the front five. Let's look back at this incident that brought out the fourth caution. And way at the bottom of your screen, you will see Robbie Gordon and Scott Wimmer come into view right there.
That's where the contact was made on Robbie's right front tire. Now he's going to go down the back straightaway, and the tire's going to go.
And again, we talked about it a while ago, possibly knock the valve stem out of the rim.
Gordon's made a couple of trips to pit road, and now comes in once again.
With no interliners in the right side tires, I mean, it's pretty easy to cut one of them or knock one of them down.
Mike, you talked about some of the cars pitting, cars on the lead lap that pitted.
Big wreck, guys.
Yep, hard in the wall, Brendan Gaughan.
77 car, hard in the wall.
And that'll be caution number 5 at lap 150.
That look had all the markings of a tire as well.
That'll be a huge break for Sterling Marlin, Jamie McMurray's teammate in the 40 car. He will get the free pass now, so we'll have 24 cars on the lead lap.
Looks like his tires are up. I don't know if we can take a look at it and see if we made some contact there with somebody.
The 9 car had a tire rub, but it's almost like once it gained some air pressure, it quit rubbing on the left front.
Oh, sometimes they'll make their own clearance.
Hopefully in the right way.
That's right.
Let's see what happened to Brendan Gaughan in the Kodak Jasper number 77. The yellow car right there.
Yikes. Looks to me like he got a little help from Terry Labonte. I tell you what, you drive with anticipating that people are going to do the same thing you would do. And sometimes a rookie driver just doesn't do what you anticipate him that he's going to do.
You mean like back off in a certain spot or hit the brake in a certain spot or so hard?
Exactly. Always kind of, you know what every driver can do, but as a rookie, you're not sure.
Nonetheless, caution is out for the 5th time this evening in Richmond. Oh, Harvick hit it hard, turn 2.
Well, you just get up high over there, it's going to get in trouble.
Lap 169, 6th caution tonight.
Pretty hard lick.
All right, here's up, guys.
Just change the tire.
Kenny Schrader will get the free pass as Harvick has the right front down. Steve?
Mike, just to confirm that, we heard Kevin Harvick say it was the right front tire that went on the 29.
We've seen this so much last night and tonight. I think, some of them are being cut down, but I think some of them are just attributed to brake heat. I tell you, guys that did not want to see this caution is those top 11 cars that did not pit the last time. I think they'll have to pit this time.
Yeah, the other thing, Larry, is air pressure. A lot of these tires, particularly when one goes down that early after a caution, that was Delana, Kevin's wife there, who's a very intricate part of keeping him in line.
Darryl, Kevin did what I think a very smart thing there. He wheeled it down pit road. I mean, he's going to get nicked for speeding, but that's a far lesser penalty than if he'd run the speed limit down pit lane and gone one lap down. Yeah.
We got up in that. Looked like he really got in there hard.
Let's ride with him.
Yeah, you just hear it. Wham. That's a hard lick.
Hear most of those guys come to pit road. Most of those guys I talked about, Steve Burns.
Jeff Gordon said we needed to get off pit.
Entering the pit, too fast exiting the pit, drove through 3 pit boxes on the way to his pit, ran over the air hose, and what was the other one? Well, there was another one. Pitted too soon before pit road was open. So let's see.
I think the penalty for most of those is started to tail end of the longest line, though.
You got it.
He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, but he may have to do that for the next 4 or 5 times.
But he'll still be on the lead lap.
That's right.
Delaney is shaking her head. She says, I don't know about all this.
It was worth the price. We're under caution at Richmond in the Chevy American Revolution 400.
The whole year, and I don't remember Jeff Burton leading the lap this year.
But you know, Darrell,
he loses it.
No caution. There it is. Caution is out. If he can get it going, he will stay on the lead lap.
Yeah,
Get it going.
he didn't hit anything. He just was trying to stay off of Jeremy and had the wheels turned to the left quite a bit, and the back end came around.
Dude, I got no power.
Oh, no.
Switch batteries. Try starting it again.
Right now, the leader's coming off turn 4.
He's got to go to stay on the lead lap.
Sounds like the engine stalled out on him and he can't get it refired.
Here he goes.
He's got it. He's got it.
Start around. Go. There you go. Attaboy.
So he will stay on the lead lap.
I don't know. I think Roundup works better on those weeds than sliding through them at 120 miles an hour.
Oh, that's his wife.
Kim Burton.
Kim, yeah. Well, he was going for the lead.
That's just it. If you're going to spin it out, good you're going for the lead. But now Jeff Burton's got to come back.
This was coming off turn 4. Car, he was trying to keep it down. It just got loose with him.
Yeah,
Darrell.
you just keep turning. You're staying in the throttle. You keep turning left, turning left. Finally, the thing just jumps sideways with you.
I believe the beneficiary of the caution is going to be Kyle Petty getting the free pass.
It's going to put 27 cars on the lead lap now. The engine evidently stalled out on him right there, and then he was having a hard time getting it. Looks like it still may be running there, and then it stalled, and he couldn't get it backfired, but he finally did.
Thank goodness for 2 batteries, because you heard him say, it's no power, switch to the other battery. There you go. That's kind of what we saw in qualifying with a couple of cars. Coming off of turn 4, trying to stay in the throttle, and the back end snaps out. You can see she just starts coming around, and buddy, there's nothing you can do about it. Stay in the throttle all the way to there. Now he locks it down because he's in the grass. Keeps those wheels cranked around there. Nice.
Doesn't look, Darrell, like he bent up the front valence or anything as he slid off.
No. Our leader, Jeremy Mayfield, in the 19 car, he comes to pit road along with Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and a bunch of others, Matt Yoakum.
And Kenny Francis talking to Mayfield on the race car, talking about possibly. But yep, you can see Tank Probst making the wedge adjustment for Mayfield. Going to hit it with the can of fuel. The 24, Jeff Gordon, in as well. Continue work on the left side of Mayfield. Finished second here last fall. He's down and away.
Looked like they made an adjustment on the right rear on Mayfield's car, either a spring rubber in or a shock adjustment, a click or 2 on the shock. They did something to the right rear.
And 2 other cars that got a big break with this caution. There they are, Johnny Sauter and Scott Riggs. Both were out ahead of Mayfield all through that green flag run and stayed on the lead lap. So here's how they came off pit road. And the driver shown in yellow there spent the least amount of time in the pit lane. Matt?
And DW, you're exactly right. Why it took a little longer on the right side, you saw the front changer come around first. They were putting a rubber in that right rear. That does take a little bit longer on a normal stop.
They know this track's getting tighter and tighter. We've heard that complaint about a lot of these cars, and that rubber in that right rear increases that spring rate. It'll help it turn from the center off. There you see it right there. You see it 50-something seconds. Everyone else in the low 40s, and you even see Ward Burton right there in the 34-second bracket.
So Jeremy Mayfield will go from the lead to the tail end of the lead lap when we go back to green. Turn 2, 2 laps of green, and then as they work traffic, Joe Nemechek and Jamie McMurray pile it hard into turn 2.
That was a second, third place car behind leader Michael Waltrip into 15.
Well, we were just talking about that there was a big jam up of cars right here. Jimmy Johnson got in it. I don't know if he hit anything.
I don't think so.
Joe's car is demolished.
So 3 of our top 5 cars.
8th caution at lap 202, coming just 2 laps after the restart. Now let's show you what happened.
Oh, Joe just he's down underneath of Jamie, and they make contact.
Looks like Jimmy Johnson, the 48, just spun out on the bottom with no damage.
Where they get bottlenecked back here. Look at Rusty. Now, Joe just got in a little too hard underneath the Jamie. You know, that's a shame.
Well, look at. Darrell, I guess some old habits die hard. When the caution comes out, racing stops, but I guess it takes a minute.
Yeah, but Mike, you can't just stop.
No, right.
You know, you got a lot of cars around you. You got to kind of keep moving. So I know what you're saying, but you got to be careful that you don't slow down too much.
Out of our leader, Michael Waltrip, in the 15 car.
Hard contact for Jamie, and quite honestly, Joe was just, you know, drove in there a little too hard underneath of him.
And I understand what you're saying, Darrell. You're trying to clear the wreck.
Right.
And you're not really trying to race anybody, but you're trying to get away from trouble before you become part of it.
Yeah, you just don't want to slow down and somebody run into the back of you. So,
Matt?
A lot of conversation, Mike, with Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson talking about the 48 car. Jimmy's relaying to Chad the damage that he thinks he sustained in that crash. He feels like he might have also bumped that right front. Not sure if the toe is knocked out or not.
Well, everybody's driven away. Nemechek has made it back to pit road, and McMurray to the garage.
Yeah, actually, Joe, I don't know what he lost there, the rear fascia.
That spoiler is going to be either real effective or real bad.
I think it's self-adjusting.
FX welcomes you back to the Chevy American Revolution 400, and this is a Visa race break as we're under caution. Jeff Hammond, it's been a testy night so far. Green and Kahne getting into it. That just kind of started things.
Just kind of started things. You see right now Jeff Green got in the back of Casey Kahne, but Casey retaliated and around went Jeff Green.
Rusty Wallace involved in a couple of incidents here with Greg Biffle, and then Riggs and Robbie Gordon has been having tire problems.
Oh, we got together down there and off of turn 4 right there, and right after that, Robbie Gordon went behind the wall. Now we see Brendan Gaughan getting spun out by Terry Labonte right there. So basically just rubbing racing all Saturday night, but most recently, look, going down this corner here, you see a lot of contact between the Joe Nemechek as well as Jimmy McMurray.
And they're cleaning up the track here. And talk about, you know, malfunction of equipment.
Equipment failure right there. We still have trouble down in turn 2.
That's the way to sweep things up. So with Jamie McMurray involved in that incident moments ago, let's check in with Steve Burns. Steve?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Jamie's just climbed out of the race car. Jamie, what happened on the racetrack? You guys had come from the back and made a great run.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't know if he got loose underneath me or if I pinched him off. I knew he was there. I was going to let him go and just got turned around there. So I don't know. He's not that kind of guy. So just tough deal though. Had a good car. Had a good car last time. Just no luck this weekend.
Jamie, how bad is the damage? Can you get back in the race?
I don't think so. It's knocked the rear clip down so far that I don't think we have any way of picking it back up. So probably done for the evening.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Steve, good news here in the 48 pit. First off,
to Robbie Gordon and Terry Labonte.
That just gets together off of turn 2 over there, and I thought Robbie Gordon he's got more car control than anybody I ever watched race.
When you can see the right side numbers from the inside of turn 3, that's big.
Maybe that's from driving those sand cars.
I'm sure he is.
I've been wondering what a sand car is.
I don't know.
30 laps, but please reach up there and pull them belts tight one more time.
Oh, tonight more than any other night. We're going to do it.
Green flag, green flag.
Boogity, 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 boys! Let's go racing!
Here, didn't get up to speed, gets turned around, and we got all kinds of cars spinning. Gary Earnhardt.
Oh, they're all scored all the piece.
It's about 10 cars or a dozen cars.
Now, as they came to the green, as they came to the line, something happened with the target number 41 of Casey Mears, and he got totally jacked up by the car that started fourth, Jeremy Mayfield, lifting the rear wheels of Mears' car off the ground. And behind that, everybody ran for cover and could find none.
Guys, I don't know. I'm trying to count cars. 25 cars started this race. I'm seeing about 13 or 14 that has pulled away with no damage.
Matt Yoakum, what happened?
Mike, he came on the radio and told Andy Graves and his crew chief Jimmy Elledge, when I was starting to go through the gears, it just all came apart. Transmission.
It all came apart all right.
Watch 77 Brendan Gaughan get Spencer, who got Rudd, who then got hit by Sauter. Earnhardt turned around, hit Burton. Got all that?
Yeah, and there goes Morgan Shepherd sliding down through there.
Yeah, I mean, when you got 12 and a half rows
41
of cars,
comes back and gets, looks like the
look
four
down
car.
here at the bottom. The two fellows who had to go to the tail end of the field for penalties made out.
Paid off.
Imagine that. Now fans are voting. Well, let's have another look here. That's in the middle of the pack.
Watch that 41 car. He bounces off the outside wall. Now watch him. He starts going backwards. Spencer's sitting down there, has no damage. The 41 backed into Spencer and knocked the fire out of his car.
There's how it all starts.
Yeah, and look at that. He's jacked up off the ground.
Turned around.
Here comes Rudd into the wall now. This 41 gets turned around again. He'll go backwards and then he'll go across the track, and Spencer is sitting down here on the apron. See him up there in the four car. Now watch this.
Oh.
Bam. I think Spencer may have already had some minor damage, but that did him in.
And as I was saying a while ago, you got 12 and a half rows of cars. Your outside pole sitter has a problem like that. This is the results right here.
And you know, I've felt all along, Mike and Larry, that this was going to be one of those nights. And we didn't even get 100 yards past the start-finish line.
Watch the inside row go. Only 9 cars will get through this clean. Ricky Rudd is not one of them.
That's a hard leg, but we do have the safer barriers installed here now.
Now, remember what happened here 2 years ago? All the cars wrecked going into turn 1. Could we see backup cars?
Well, that's one of the neat things about stock car racing's All-Star Night. You never know exactly what's going to happen next. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway and Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night, which begins with the NEXTEL Open. Aerial shots provided by Quaker State as you look at pit road, where you see that the cars that could make it back around are stopped. The wreckers have a lot of work to do, and so do the pit crews. Uniquely to the All-Star format, crews are allowed to work on their cars during this red flag period to clear the track. And after the green flag, we got about 50 feet before mayhem erupted behind Casey Mears, who lost a transmission. Dick Berggren?
Well, certainly one of the most disappointed drivers has got to be Kerry Earnhardt, who got a shot at a Richard Childress car here, but they've just discovered that there's water underneath the car. That means the radiator has failed, and that means that they have to change the radiator. So they can't work on him under this red, and Kerry Earnhardt surely is hoping it's going to be a very long red, because it's going to take quite a while to change that radiator. But most important, Mike, this is an aero track, and with the nose of this car as badly beaten up as it is, his chances to win the race have diminished dramatically to about 0.
Not only that, Dick, but Kerry was shown in our pre-race as one of the top 3 in the voting to advance should he not be the winner. Remember, though, those rules require that the eligible driver with the highest votes advances, and to be eligible, you must finish the Open on the lead lap.
Yeah, and they might be able to change that radiator if they could get to it.
Dale Jr. looking on as we're under the red flag. Watch what happens. That target car, boy, it had a bullseye on it for the rest of this field.
And it just stopped. I mean, he was going, and all of a sudden it just stopped right in front of Jeremy Mayfield, and here comes the rest.
Boy, Sterling Marlin in that 40 car just threaded through there.
From the helicopter, you'll see how quickly this whole field just rushes together.
And it almost looks like that Casey Mears put on the brakes, but when the transmission goes, it probably did try to lock up.
And And Mike, you talk about our top vote getters. We showed in the pre-race, Kerry Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, Jamie McMurray was the top 3. These guys are there. Casey Mears, Ricky Rudd.
Gee, I guess they're okay.
It's like there's not a thing you can do about it now. But two of our 3 top vote getters were involved in that wreck, Kenny Schrader and Kerry Earnhardt. You see them working on Kerry's car right there.
And the word from NASCAR is that backup cars will not be permitted to be rolled out. The situation we had a couple of years ago was unique. The green flag waved with rain falling in turn 1, and a number of cars slid up the racetrack in that sudden shower and wrecked, and backup cars were permitted.
Of course, Jamie McMurray is leading the race, and he was one of the leading vote getters in the poll. Sterling Marlin's back there in 5th place. He was one of the leading vote getters. So those guys made it through and got a chance just to win the race.
Not everybody was as happy as the drivers who were joking getting out of the ambulance for the mandatory trip into the care center. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Jimmy Spencer was just caught up with Jimmy Spencer, who was on his way to the garage. You're smiling. What a crash.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad crash. I guess somebody broke a transmission or something. That's the only thing that could happen on a start of the race. If not, there was a dumb idiot up there or whatever pushed somebody, but tore the 4-car pretty bad. Had a really good car. But that's the shortest race that I can ever remember being in. Shortest race. I don't think we went 1,000 feet, so not a good night. Not going to be in the NEXTEL event. That sucks. And just sucks, man.
Saturday night racing.
And Spencer's seen a lot of it in his career. 3 cars being worked on pit road: Kerry Earnhardt, Johnny Sauter, and Jeremy Mayfield. Now let's go back and look at the voting so far, and there are the 3 leaders, all of whom are still in this race.
Kenny Schrader is back out on the grid. They was in their garage pit stall working on his car for a little bit.
Red flag in the NEXTEL Open. Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night just getting started.
Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway on FX, spending your Saturday night with us, and a night of all-stars to a rocky start as we welcome you to our Visa race break. 11 cars involved in the incident, as Jimmy Spencer describing moments ago before he got 1,000 feet. And some of the drivers, there's Brendan Gaughan, the rookie, Casey Mears, involved in that wreck. Jeff Hamlin, let's work our way through this. It starts with Jimmy Spencer in the 4-car. And then after that, it's just with 25 cars starting the race, everybody trying to get out of everybody's way.
What happens here right now is you take a look, we get ready to go to the green, and when they drop the green flag, you can see Jimmy Spencer right there, the 4-car. He's right in behind here. He's trying to figure out where he's got. Boom, he gets punted by Brendan Gaughan. Then it comes along Kerry Earnhardt, the 99 car, your 21 car of Ricky Rudd. I mean, it's just total carnage all of a sudden.
Let's look at the front of the field.
At the front of the field is really where the trigger occurred. When they drop the green flag, Casey Mears on the outside pole starts to go. The car doesn't move. He gets rear-ended by Jamie.
That's Jeremy Mayfield.
In 19, and you talk about somebody being lucky. Look at the 40 car Sterling Marlin. Cars going all around him. He misses it, but behind him, I mean, total chaos and a lot of carnage and a lot of guys right now going home early. Not even one lap, Chris.
No backup cars.
No backup cars.
Joy pointed out 20 laps here and then 10 laps. These are the drivers involved in the crash. Remember, 25 starting this race to work their way in to the All-Star Challenge later tonight. 11 guys here. In fact, and those not involved, a smaller number. As you see, that's what those are the drivers that did not have any involvement.
They got by clean, but the main thing about this right now is when you think about the fact this is not a point race, all these guys right now not involved, Kyle Petty, Kirk Shermerdine, Stanton Barrett, a lot of them not involved. You see some repair work right now going on the number 40 car of Sterling Marlin. I believe that Steve Burns has got some more information for us.
Yeah, Jeff, unfortunately, we've got a bunch of great drivers who had great race cars standing here just out of the care center. First off, Jeff Burton, how disappointing is this?
Well, it's really disappointing. You know, for all of us, we all wanted to lay it on the line tonight and see what we could get done, and to not even get to turn 1 to find out what you had is disappointing. But we'll bring the roundup forward over here for the 600 and try to make it happen.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Now we'll check in with Casey Mears. And Casey, I guess the transmission just went away on you right from the start.
Yeah, we had a really good start. You know, I felt pretty good about it. And as soon as I went to third, the transmission just blew up. So it's just a bad day for the Target Dodge. But, you know, like I said, fortunately, it's not a points race, and unfortunately, it was a chance to get $1 million. So that's kind of disappointing. But and the guys put so much hard work in to run and get here, and you know, to come out like this isn't good. But we couldn't help it.
All right, and Brendan Gaughan also. Short night for you, Brendan.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. Casey blew up a transmission, and we were just in the back in the wreckage. Nothing we could do. And like Casey said, it's kind of a bummer that the guys, we'd like to do this as a test for the Coca-Cola 600. Kodak Dodge been running good lately, and we want to try to keep that going. Would have been a good test session, but go Rusty and Ryan.
All right, thanks for your patience. Good luck next week.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's go to Chris.
All right, thanks, Steve. He's working his way down.
The caution is out. The caution is out.
Backstretch. Kirk Shelmerdine in trouble. A shower of sparks.
Boy, he's hit the wall.
Garage.
He's hit the wall hard.
The racingunderdog.com Chevy.
And trying to be smart, sat there, led the race, for a lap, falls to the rear on the restart, taking care of his stuff, and this is unfortunate.
As we went to caution, Kerry Earnhardt took his car to the garage area, so he will not have a chance to advance.
Oh boy, Kurt just lost looked like he lost a right front tire.
Just went flat over, Darrell. And remember, he's one of the cars that did not change tires under that caution. And I'm sure this would have been the car that Kurt would have tried to come out here next week and qualify for the Coca-Cola 600. He actually just bought this car from Travis Carter.
Yeah, that's a serious damage, and that's unfortunate for him.
I'm not sure, Darrell, if Kirk has any cars beside that one Ford.
He actually just bought a couple of cars from Travis Carter and a couple of cars from Robert Yates. They're not completely ready to go, but he did just was able to just purchase 3 of them.
Yeah, but what happens to the nose of that car if he unwraps that present and gets it out in clean air?
Hey, he got underneath him. He got him loose down there. 3 and 4, and they're touch. 2 laps to go. This time, side by side.
I think, Mike, you might be right about the arrow on that 19 car, because Jamie was a little quicker down into the corner.
And here comes Sterling. It's a 3-horse race.
He likes these guys running side by side. He's right there with him. He gets a good run off, too.
He's going to go 3 wide down the back. No, he thinks better of it.
He's got one more lap to do it. McMurray edges ahead, and they'll see the white flag.
Whoa, they touched that time again.
Jamie gets sideways.
Baby.
Holds on to it.
Hang on to it.
Marlin's up there. White flag.
Hang on to it, Jamie. Here comes Sterling.
McMurray saved it, but it gave Marlin a run on both of them, and Marlin takes the lead, trying to win his 4th NEXTEL Open.
Jamie carried it into turn 1 a little bit too hard, got up out of the groove, had to get out of the throttle.
He's going to try the inside down there. You block the inside. If he goes high, I'll let you know.
He's got a long way to go, though. He's behind him about 3 car lengths. Sterling just shot out of a rocket with 2 laps to go.
Looked like the truck race.
That one's yours.
Checkered flag in the air. Sterling Marlin wins the NEXTEL Open for the 4th time. Oh, turn 2, Craven, hard.
I don't know. He'd been running pretty high. Looked like the car wasn't working like he wanted to.
Don't appear. A tire went down. Looks like all 4 tires possibly are up. Now, the rules are the same as far as the field freezes under caution.
First caution of the night, completing lap 5. Now, the mandatory pit stop in this segment cannot be made under caution. Rookie Craven will be able to drive it to the garage.
Now, you can make a pit stop under this caution, but it will not count as your mandatory stop. It has to be under green.
And if I was at the back of the pack and my car wasn't very good right now,
backed off.
It'd be a good time to come in.
I'm coming to visit my crew chief. He just got up out of the groove, and he was running high down here in 3 and 4 and brushed the wall, as we noted, off turn 4. Car didn't look like it was just working the way he wanted to.
Got loose up there in that middle of the racetrack.
I'd say she was just a little too free. A lot of these guys, in my opinion, they overreact to the nighttime conditions. They try to loosen the cars up, and sometimes you just get them too loose.
Ride with Dale Jarrett through this.
Pretty much the pictures tell the story.
Well, how did Earnhardt used to sell you on pitting?
He'd say, I'm in. Oh, no. Trouble, man. Big trouble.
At least 3 cars and more.
Lots of trouble
Jeff Gordon's involved.
Just look out.
Kevin Harvick.
I couldn't tell what happened, but somebody got into the back of the 16 car and turned him.
I believe
Robbie Gordon, big
Busch,
damage.
The 97 car.
And the first contact may have been between the Roush teammates, Busch and Biffle. Jeff Gordon torn up.
Bring back the garage, Jeff. Find me to the pit. Bring it to the pit.
Sterling Marlin, who transferred from the open. Biffle trying to get restarted. That's just out the exhaust pipe. Joe Nemechek.
Well, we see that all too often for Joe. That car has just been in the wrong place at the wrong time so many times this year.
That's his second car of the weekend.
Flat tire and nose damage on Gordon. Well, let's see what happens.
Let's see here. It's a 16 car, and he gets turned.
That's his teammate Kurt Busch behind him in the 97 car that gets into the back of him. He goes down and collects Jimmy Johnson in the 48, and then it just starts stacking up behind him. Look at Brian Vickers in the 25, just getting by.
Well, it looked like Michael did a good job of squeezing through there. A number of guys did, but a number of guys didn't as well.
Boy, Darrell, about every 4 years we have an all-star race like this. It's like a full moon Saturday night.
You know, Mike, I kept saying, though, I had this feeling about tonight. I could just feel it in the air.
Watch this right here, guys, right there just past the start-finish line. This is happening at over 180, almost 190 miles per hour.
Now, listen, that was totally uncalled for, and you can say, well, I was bump drafting, but you don't draft at Charlotte Motor Speedway going down into turn 1.
Schrader involved. Marlin wrecked. Robbie Gordon's car, junk. Now, Jimmy Johnson was on the inside of all that, and Matt, he took a hard hit.
A lot of cosmetic damage, Mike, to that right front. A lot of guys from the Lowe's team cutting away with a Sawzall that right front fender, pieces of aluminum ready to go across the wall to try to repair the best they can that right front fender. Nick?
Gordon's car is in. It is pretty well damaged. The nose is pushed in. The side of the car is pushed in. Goal 1, put 4 fresh tires on the car so we can roll around. They're going to have to make a lot of pit stops to get this squared away. Steve?
Well, Dick, Ricky Craven, unfortunately, in the garage area. Ricky, what was the problem? What happened?
We just got sideways, and somebody was leaking a bunch of oil, and it didn't help. But listen, it was 4 or 5 of the most fun laps I've had all year. So, it ended ugly, but the car was really running. And as poorly as we've run this year, it was about coming here and getting prepared for the 600. And, of course, trying to win a race, but I'm extremely proud of the progress we made. I'm disappointed that I ended the night so quickly, but I am very encouraged by the way the Tide Monte Carlo ran.
Thanks, Ricky.
All right.
2 big crashes at the south end of the speedway. Craven in the garage from the first one. Joe Nemechek is already in the garage from this one. Charlotte is the Queen City, and one of the biggest jewels in her crown is Lowe's Motor Speedway in Concord, northeast of the city. As you look from our Quaker State aerial coverage, the speedway silent right now, but for the track cleanup trucks. NASCAR has pulled the cars to pit road, and under the rules of the All-Star event, allowed the teams to come to their pit stalls, work on the cars, and all but the first 5 took advantage of that opportunity. Here's Steve Burns.
In the garage with Greg Biffle, and Greg, I know you're a little upset. What happened?
I think the replay shows that Kurt Busch got his head up as whatever, I guess I got to take Kevin Harvick's, road, but I just don't understand you got to finish the race to do anything, and he wrecked us on the straightaway. Not in the corner, not going in the corner, on the straightaway. I never lifted on the gas, he had more motor than I did, because he's higher in points, but I feel bad for these guys. A really good car. We're going to the front. I felt that we had a chance at $1 million tonight for sure. Had a good enough race car, but you got to have teammates with common sense.
Greg, how disappointing is this for you?
It's terrible disappointing, and it's worse for Roush Racing. We took out the whole field. Kurt Busch took out the whole field, and 2 really good cars had a chance at $1 million tonight. If I was Jack Roush, I don't know what I'd do.
Thank you, Greg.
What Biffle was speaking of is there is a new Ford engine, a new cylinder head design, and because only so many engines were available, they were allowed to be used by the Ford teams that were highest up in points, and that did not include Greg Biffle. That's why he felt that Kurt Busch had more engine than he did. There are the cars that are involved in the crash of the 24 that started. The NEXTEL All-Star Challenge, car owner Jack Roush headed back for the garage. Let's show you some replays. You saw the initial contact And now what happens behind?
Yeah, I don't think Jack was running down there to see about the cars. I think he's probably running down there to stop the fight.
Let's let you watch and listen to these in-car views.
Spin in front of you, spin in front of you, spin in front of you. Come on around to the caution. Holy, did you get through that, Michael? Still there. Thanks. That was a heck of a job. There was so much smoke I couldn't know. Spin. Easy. Shit, we're in.
11 cars involved as you rode through it and to it. Here's Dick Burton.
Well, Earnhardt Jr. is not happy with his automobile. The little bit of sheet metal damage on the right rear quarter of that car, Mike, they did put it in the pits and worked on it, got it squared away. Michael Waltrip is still in the pits. They're working on the right rear quarter of his car, and right behind him, Jeff Gordon. Major work going on there, trying to pull the nose of the car out so he can get back in competition. They're going to be here for a while. Steve?
Well, Dick, Joe Nemechek had a great run and short last Saturday night in Richmond and again tonight. Joe, from the driver's seat, what happened?
I don't know. Somebody wasn't using their head because you just don't wreck on the straightaways. I mean, and it is frustrating. We come here. This is a great race, an exciting race, but damn, you just don't wreck on the straightaways. And just unfortunate. We had pitted. We had 0 laps on this car before qualifying last night, a backup ar. Drove good in qualifying. We guessed on a race setup. I was a little bit too tight, so we decided to pit there. I don't think it would have made a difference if we didn't pit or not, but we just trying to get our car better, and all of a sudden they started wrecking. I was committed to high line, and you just can't do anything about it. You know, Sterling Marlin was up on top of my hood, and I don't know, just people got to use their heads better than that.
All right, thanks, Joe. Good luck next week.
You saw Kevin Harvick's snap-on Goodwrench Chevy to the garage, joining Nemechek. Taking that slow roll in.
You know who's breathing the biggest sigh of relief? Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart, that they elected not to come to pit road because probably they would have been right there in the eye of that storm. Now they're sitting up there in second place. It may not be driving good, but they're up there at the front, which is the safest place.
There's Greg. That sigh of relief on his forehead. Hope he's feeling a lot better. Last week had a bad case of the flu last Saturday night at Richmond. And so we're under the red flag in the NASCAR NEXTEL All-Star Challenge. Let's go back down to Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond.
Thanks, Mike. And guys, a quick recap as we're under the red flag currently. NEXTEL Open start of the evening. Sterling Marlin advances. Ken Schrader voted in by the fans, 343 votes ahead of Jamie McMurray. And now we have 11 cars involved in this mishap. And you heard the stirring comments of Greg Biffle.
Yeah, right now we're watching a lot of these guys. Saw Chad Canals a minute ago working on the 48 car. Repairs going to Jeff Gordon's number 24, along with Michael Waltrip. A lot of damage. A lot of these teams right there is Chad Canals trying to repair that right front fender. If they can get that car fixed, look at it like this, and they're working on Kurt Busch's car back in the garage area. I mean, right now these guys are frailing, trying to get all the damage away from the car so they can get the cars repaired. I mean, a lot of work going on pit road. But Chris, what everybody's thinking about is still a lot of racing to go. Maybe I can get the necessary repairs to get my car back in the race.
Remember, this is 40 laps, then the inversion before 30 laps and 20 laps and $1 million waiting at the end of the night. But Jeff, these are the All-Stars. This is the best of the best, the 24 drivers that started in this NEXTEL Open, this first segment. A thought on the incident between Biffle and Kurt Busch and the kind of aggressive driving that we're seeing so early. Again, a non-points race.
Well, but again, we're talking about track position and trying to get up to the front. You don't want to lose contact with the leaders. You don't know how the inversion is going to go. And again, $1 million a lot of times will cloud good guys' judgment.
All right, Jack Roush, you worked for him at one time. We saw him running back. Some thoughts on what he might say to Greg Biffle or Kurt Busch?
Well, right now I'm sure he's thinking about, trying to find out exactly what happened. He'll look at the replays, and he'll wind up being the referee because you don't need this kind of dissension as we see Kurt Busch right now walking basically back through the garage area. I'm sure he's pretty dejected and upset with what happened. But, you know, as usual, he'll take time right now and probably go change his clothes, and maybe we'll get an opportunity to find out what exactly happened.
Yeah, he will talk with us. Let's check in with Steve Burns right now.
Yeah, Chris Myers, I just spoke to Kurt. He said he wanted to compose himself a minute, change clothes, and he'd speak with us as soon as he was out of the transporter.
All right, thanks, Steve.
And right now, I think, Chris, that's a pretty good move right there on his part, kind of collect his thoughts and make sure that when he comes out and makes a statement, that it kind of covers the situation.
Of those involved in the wreck, the 11 drivers, Kasey Kahne, who's in his first All-Star race, Michael Waltrip, the winner in '96, Jeff Gordon, a three-time winner of this All-Star event, the most among any of the active drivers, Sterling Marlin, who won the Nextel Open earlier this evening, and last year's winner, Jimmie Johnson. The repairs continue. The All-Star racing will continue on FX.
Jarrett, the 88 car. Everybody gets through. Caution is out.
Everybody got through it.
Sure anybody really touched anything.
Jarrett's going to have to take it easier. Those flat tires, he'll tear the fenders off that car before he gets back to the pits.
Now, yellow flags do count in this segment as well, and you can make a pit stop under any of the cautions.
I think the right front fender might be in a little bit. 10-4, be careful, that right front is flat. Right front is flat, be careful.
Well, the left front's flat too. Or is it just soft?
Okay, gonna get 4 tires.
Very soft.
Left front is flat also.
Yeah, when you spin like that, you pretty much knock the air out of all those tires.
He slid a long way.
Car hasn't even picked them up yet.
Now he's got to be careful to stay on the lead lap, because as Larry pointed out, caution laps here do count. How about Terry Labonte, the 03 Southern 500 winner, the winner of the last Labor Day Southern 500 at Darlington? He's out in front in segment 2 of the NASCAR NEXTEL All-Star Challenge.
And looking pretty good. I noticed him in the first segment. He had a really good race car.
You will have to work on it just a little bit. Not much. 10-4. Let's get the tires changed first.
Dale Jarrett makes it to pit road after bringing out the caution on lap 43. You're watching NASCAR on FX. The third caution of the night came out at lap 43 as Dale Jarrett and Tony Stewart went down the backstretch to turn 3 side by side. Pits are open, and toward the back of the pack, several will take that opportunity. Make it 7 cars onto pit road, including Jarrett for the second time. Jimmie Johnson, Brian Vickers, Elliott Sadler, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Jarrett, and Kenny Schrader.
Yeah, nothing to lose making these pit stops. You're at the back of the field anyhow, so come on in and try to make your car better, get 4 fresh tires.
How's that song go, Side by Side? We ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny, but we're riding along singing a song.
Side by side.
Side by side. Heard on the radio.
Steve Burns.
Mike, the problem for Dale Jarrett right now, several mechanics working to pull sheet metal off of the right front tire. They want to avoid a tire rub if at all possible. Let's go to Dick.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte is back into the pits again. They're working on the chassis on this car to try to get it dialed in. I stand corrected on the drive shaft. They didn't replace the drive shaft. They turned it 180 degrees to try to get rid of a vibration. So the same drive shaft that was in it is still in it.
And what they're doing, what they're doing right there is dropping the track bar on the left side.
Matt?
And the 38 of Elliott Sadler, the service has been completed on his car. On the previous stop, they put a rubber in the right rear, and he felt like once they'd gone back to green, that wasn't the way to go. The car was tight and felt like he just was on top of the racetrack. They took advantage of this caution, came in, pulled the rubber, also changed the air pressure in that right rear.
Next Saturday night, these same pit crews will be going after the McDonald's Drive-Thru Championship, fueled by Powerade among the teams that choose to participate. Car number 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading the standings after 11 races. We'll show you what happened to bring out the caution. From Dale Jarrett's car, you'll see Tony Stewart outside to the right.
Looks like Jarrett was trying to make the pass to get down in the corner, and kind of a one went up, one came down, looked like.
Little breakup on the in-car camera view. There is the other view we have of it.
But I do believe you're right, Darrell. I mean, we could sit here and say Tony Stewart came down, but through that in-car view, it looked like one was moving up, one was moving down, and the hole wasn't big enough.
Yeah, it's not unusual we go in the corner side by side like that.
How about Ryan Newman getting no respect here? First from Dale Jr.
I just don't like this bump drafting thing on a 1.5-mile racetrack. That usually is not very smart.
And then, as we pointed out, he and Rusty in the 2 got together. One coming up, one coming down.
Kind of just misjudged his destiny a little bit. Rusty did. Looked like he was trying to drop in behind Ryan to get around Michael and clipped him.
And where Dale Earnhardt Jr. got in trouble.
Trouble in turn 4.
Yellow's out. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Single car spin. Jimmy Johnson. Everybody else gets through.
No, he didn't. He didn't touch anything, but the car just he's trying to run the car faster than it ought to be going.
A lot of cars had to go down pit road.
Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Casey Kahne, and Kenny Schrader all took evasive action down the pit lane. And
you just heard Chad say, "We're going home, buddy." I think it's he's trying to do something with that car he can't do.
Tell you what, this caution is a huge break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think he can do business up there now, restarting on the outside of Ryan Newman.
Well, I don't know, Larry. I think what he's got to do is see where Ryan's running, because Ryan's running low, and I think Junior's. Thought we were going to hear something from Junior there.
Darrell, on the restart, we've seen that outside line. You talked about it a while ago. Be so strong on the restarts. That's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 8 car will restart.
Yeah, but just Ryan's got his car. It's dialed in right now, and I don't think that Junior's got anything for him.
4th caution of this all-star race, and watch it come to you, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, he's in trouble way back there, and I think he's just trying to take a wrecked race car, Larry, and get a lot more out of it than it's capable. Matter of fact, you just heard Chad say, "Let's go home, buddy."
There you see all those cars, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Casey Kahne going down pit road, not knowing where the 48 car was going to end up.
Yeah, Darrell, at this point, you're not learning anything that's going to advance you for next week, so put it away. Here's Casey Kahne's view. Wow, looked a lot like Days of Thunder right there.
Oh, yeah. That was a good move going down pit road.
Yeah, that's where Jimmy was least likely to be, right?
Yeah. Casey already been in one wreck, so I don't want to be in another one.
Now, Darrell, you know what we might see here, since we only have about 14 laps to go in this segment? We may see some of the leaders come to pit road and get 4 tires.
Fire in the wall hard, and that is Johnny Sauter.
Caution is out.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I just lost it.
That's going to hurt Ryan Newman, who had just made that green flag stop.
Plus the 24 car, who was already in big trouble.
It appears possibly Casey Kahne in the 9 car may be the first car lap down that will get the part and get back on the lead lap.
That is the first caution of the night. The average speed of this race had been running at 166.5 miles an hour. The fewest cautions in a 600, 1962 and 3, only 2. So this is the first of the evening, and it comes out at 160 laps, 240 miles.
That's definitely the caution that people like Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth, that they definitely wanted.
Let's ride with Johnny Sauter.
He's in trouble from before he ever even got to the corner, that baby was coming around.
One of 3 Richard Childress cars in the field. Kevin Harvick and Robbie Gordon are the others.
You heard Jeff Hammond talking earlier. We have the safer barriers here now. That's still an awfully hard lick, but you see the car just kind of bounce back off of it. Don't have that solid hit.
And the rookie from Wisconsin goes to the garage. A.O. Well.
And he has no DNFs this season. He's the only rookie that has been running at the end of all 11 races so far this year.
Well, the caution flag pins cars from 10th on back at least 1 lap down. Casey Kahne had just gone a lap down, but of course he'll get the free pass. So that means from Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, John Andretti, and on back. Darrell, those cars are going to be a lap down.
I'd be happy just to be a lap down right now. I'm telling you the way this has been going.
Let's go to the Hollywood Hotel.
Thanks, Mike, guys. Time for a Visa race break as we've gone 161 laps. And your leader is Jimmy Johnson with Elliott Sadler behind him, followed by Mark Martin and Michael Waltrip. And the driver focus, such an important part of what's gone on and will go on through this 600-mile race. Let's go back a little bit and show you, first of all, Greg Biffle scraping the wall. Robbie Gordon missing his pit. Kahne nearly hitting the wall.
Overdrives that corner just a little bit, goes all the way to the top of the, close to the wall, but doesn't quite get there. And then our leader at that time, Elliott Sadler, almost gets the wall off of turn 4.
And it cost him.
It cost him the lead right there. Jimmy Johnson gets back to the inside of it.
After an exceptional pit stop from Jimmy Johnson takes the lead. Jeff Gordon, problems with his car and then problems getting to his pit. Actually goes 5 laps down, and moments ago creating the first caution of this race. Johnny Sauter spinning out in the 30 car. And so far, Jeff Hammond, as we're getting ready for pit stop.
Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. 235 laps are complete. As we went to break, you may have noticed from that robotic camera at turn 4, Greg Biffle's car starting to get very loose. That has put us under the second caution of the day.
And this is about as close as you will come to wrecking and not wreck.
Well, he convinced somebody he was wrecking.
When you can read the right side door numbers from this angle right here, that's not good.
Now, Biffle did not crash, but that car going sideways and concerns from that area about fluid on the racetrack have put us under yellow. And the free pass car will straight away.
Ryan Newman
is out. Caution is out. He's okay. Saves it.
Ryan Newman got in the back of him and just turned him.
We got tapped.
You know who really benefits from this caution? We hadn't mentioned him in a while. Rusty Wallace. They've continued to work on that car. He will get the part, and he'll be back on the lead lap here with about 50 laps to go.
Dale Earnhardt and also Ryan Newman, who caused that caution, were about to go a lap down.
Jeff?
Stay with me.
DW, Larry, now it comes down to the crews. We've seen tonight where a lot of guys have made mistakes on pit road, and this would not be the time to make one.
Let's see what happened to John Andretti running in 14th position as he came off turn 4.
Actually, Newman's trying to keep him going 2 laps down. You know, it looked like, first of all, he just got in the back up and spun him out. That's what that looked like. But also, maybe John had to get up out of the throttle a little bit. It looked like the car was getting ready to take off toward the wall.
Yeah, Newman closed on him so suddenly, Darrell, that was likely the case.
And like you say, he's fighting to keep from going another lap down.
Right there, just when he made contact, it's almost like John had to get out of the gas to keep from scraping the outside wall.
It's the 3rd caution flag of the night, and we remain on record pace.
Now, right behind these cats is the leader.
So, as we're fond of saying, this changes Ryan Newman and John Andretti. Now, this is an hour and a half ago those 2 cars made bumper-to-bumper contact.
That's not like candy apple red.
And what just happened?
You see the one car, though, I got to say he slowed considerably to cause that one.
Only the 3rd caution of the evening. As Jimmy Johnson tries to win his 2nd in a row, Kahne tries to win his 1st ever, and now the cars a lap or more down make their pit stops. And it's a big one. It's Ryan Newman. The outside pole sitter, Newman, has crashed while running in the 14th position.
That's the flat, sir. You want me to come in now?
And I do believe the free pass will go to Tony Stewart in that 20 car. He'll be back on the lead lap.
This is the 5th caution of the night. It comes out at lap 367, and now we've slowed the average speed of this race to below record pace. Was there contact with Ryan Newman? Watch the right of your screen. Wow, that's Derek Cope.
Yeah, they both got together. It looked like the Cope got into the 12 Newman, and it spun them both out, or knocked them both in the fence. A little too close right in there.
Both cars pit for repair. 32 laps to go.
And it's been 30 laps since these cars came to pit road, and I've got to believe with 12 cars on the lead lap, now 13 with Tony Stewart, and this many laps to go, you're going to see all these guys come to pit road and get 4 tires. I don't care what Ryan Newman did last week in the All-Star race. This is a different animal, different racetrack.
Again, I feel sorry for the leader of the race, the first couple of cars, because if you stay out, everybody comes in. If you come in, everybody stays out. And we've seen tonight, Larry, it does. If you're back in traffic,
can't go anywhere.
It's hard to get going.
The plot thickens at Lowe's Motor Speedway. 32 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600. They're going to open the pits this time by, so we'll see who's coming, who's going.
Dun-dun. Dun-dun.
And you know,
second place still in doubt.
Look at them. They're going to be 3 to 5.
Bobby Labonte in two. But we stay green.
Caution lights are on. The caution lights are on. The caution lights out.
The line here. Back it down, Jimmy.
It's over if they get to the line.
I think Michael got second.
The field was frozen.
And coming to the line, Jimmy Johnson wins his second straight Coke 600.
Man. Led 333 laps. Right at 500 miles.
Well, now this will take some sorting out, because at the moment of caution, defined as when the caution lights or flag are displayed, the field is frozen.
And the lights were on well before the yellow flag came out, but I was looking right down at the lights, and they were on.
And it all happened behind this young man, who wins this race for the second time in a row, joining Buddy Baker, Darrell Waltrip, Neil Bonnet, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon as back-to-back winners of the 600.
Well, he had the hot rod to do it with. That 9 car looks like it's bottoming out really badly. Bounces up the racetrack and gets into Bobby Labonte. There goes Tony by. The 9 car just went down and drove it in really, really hard and bottomed it out and got into the back of Bobby.
Poor old Shrek wrecked.
Back to the mud bog.
I got to go to the back anyway, so we just needed a good pit stall, and I was going for it, but it's just too free. Seemed like that's completely opposite what happened with our cup car.
We got trouble.
You know, trouble on the racetrack, Joe.
So Greg Biffle hard into the wall.
I don't think it's too bad, is it?
That's not too bad, guys. He bounced off of it a little bit. I mean, he killed it, but I don't think he didn't kill it. He just wounded it.
And that was his crew chief, Doug Richard, talking to him. I had a conversation with Doug earlier this year about their qualifying earlier this week, because in the first 7 races, he had 6 top 10 starts, including the Bud Pole for the Daytona 500. But in the last 5 races, only 1 top 10 start. And Darrell, he said an interesting thing. He said, once the weather turned warm, it's like we've not found the combination, possibly with air pressure or something.
Take a look at the replay.
Gets down into turn 1, right in the middle of 1. It's starting to get loose right there. It jumped a little loose with him. He's trying to pull it back down to the bottom, but the more he tries to pull it to the bottom, the looser it gets. Gets that wobble up off of 2. Doesn't hit the wall all that hard. The right rear gets into it, but it didn't. Like I said, I believe they can fix that car.
He's very lucky he didn't come down and slam the inside wall, which is normally what happens here.
Wow. And one of the things, Larry, about as the temperature goes up, as it gets hotter and in the summertime, one of the things I learned was you got that big sway bar, that 2-inch sway bar. When the tracks are cool and the tracks are fairly, and the weather's fairly cool, you can run that big bar, but you got to come off of that when it gets hot and slick.
So we'll take a quick break here at the Dover International Speedway and continue with qualifying. Ryan Newman is on the pole for now.
That is a gut-wrenching sound.
Dick Bergens with another guy who unfortunately tested the wall. Dick?
And that's Greg Biffle. What happened, Greg?
I just got a little bit loose coming up off of 2 there. You know, I mean, the Busch qualifying was so tight that there's no time to sit around. You got to go. And this is a racetrack that's not very forgiving. You know, once it gets out from under you, it'll just take off there. So, you know, we had a little bit freer setup than a lot of our teammates. So, you know, I think that it got us, you know.
Will you fix this car, or you need to go to a backup?
Well, you know, it's certainly fixable, but we're just not sure. We see a little bit of bent tin in there, and we figured efforts just getting the other car out and ready. It's ready to go. It's a car we ran at Bristol and run really good with. We get to talking about it. We think it's a better car than this, so I said I don't think there's much of a choice. Fill out a better car or fix this one.
Given that both you and Michael wrecked in the same spot, do you think there's something going on in that particular area?
Well, certainly that brief little bit of rain shower we had come through here could have made a little bit of impact on the racetrack. You know, could have cooled it down a little bit surface-wise, and the tires aren't getting as good a grip or something. That's certainly possible, but Ryan Newman went right before us and went pretty fast, so you know, he might have been a different spot on the track too, so definitely a little bit free right now.
Thanks for your comments. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Dick. Michael Waltrip's car on the rollback. We'll head to break and come back with more qualifying from the Dover International Speedway. Ryan Newman, the man to beat. Back at Dover under caution. That's the reason why in qualifying, Michael Waltrip has backed his number 15 Chevy into the wall. Greg Biffle actually did it prior to Michael Waltrip. Let's take a look at the replay. Right off of turn 2, or going into 2, guys.
And I think there's some consistency here of what happened. You see how high Michael is. I mean, you'd like to be down on the white line there, right on the bottom of the racetrack. But when you start to come off of the bottom, the driver's tendency is to pull it harder and harder to the left. And when you do, it snaps. The back end of the car, you turn it, finally the front will get a little bite, and when it does, the back end will snap around. And you already are cutting left. There's no way to whoop it back to the right to try to save it.
And Dick Berggren is with Michael Waltrip.
Don't leave. You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What happened out there, Michael?
Oh, I just going for it. You know, I thought the first lap was pretty good, but just hard on the gas and didn't stick and got a little sideways and just lost the car. So it's just disappointing. We hadn't had a crash in a long time and hadn't used a backup car in a long time, and things were really clicking for this team. I hope this doesn't set us back too far. But the Napa Chevy that we're unloading right now is the car we raced at Bristol and finished in the top 10. And these boys are really talented. I got a great bunch of guys that work for me, so we'll recover.
Cheer up. It's going to be okay Sunday.
If nothing else, they're working off momentum. Had a good run at Richmond a few weeks ago. Great run in All-Star race, and then a great run the other night, finishing second in the Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and he's second quick. I don't know where he'll end up, but at least he still gets to pick his pit. He'll get a good pit selection, and that'll make up more than he can make up on the racetrack if he can get down here near the first turn in the pit box.
You know what was impressive about their run last Sunday night at Lowe's Motor Speedway? They were in the top 5 all night.
All night long.
It wasn't like they snuck in there. They were up there consistently all night. So we're under a bit of a caution here. Track officials get the track cleaned off, and we'll be back to qualifying. Ryan Newman over 160 miles per hour, a new track record.
In that back.
Oh, trouble, 41 around.
Casey Mears inside wall. In the dirt, keeps it down to the bottom of the racetrack, and everyone will get by without incident as the caution waves for the first time today at lap 12.
Got to believe it. I didn't see what happened. I just saw him go sliding by. Got to believe it. You come off turn 4, the thing gets a little loose with you or gets a little push in it. You got to pedal it a little bit. Somebody right on your back bumper, they tap you, and away you go.
That's a shame, Darrell. He was a top 10 car.
Oh, yeah, and he's doing really great. He's had some good runs here lately.
Yeah, 4 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races. It will happen today.
Short day at Dover for Casey Mears. They may be able to get that car back on track.
Oh, they'll get her back together and get him back out there, but he'll be wounded.
Call it the self-cleaning track, DW. What's up at the top, it always goes to the bottom.
Well, and look, there's this straightaway, Larry. Look at the cars coming down through there, and it's all just goes right down to the bottom of the track. Look how narrow that is back there. There's an inside retaining wall. It's very narrow. You got the same thing coming off turn 4 down the front here, so there's not a lot of room for error.
From Bobby Labonte's Chevrolet.
Pretty much looked like he was down under somebody, trying to keep it down off, trying to keep off of whoever's on the outside of him, and he spun it. Yep. That can happen right there.
When you normally hit that inside wall, you hit it hard, no matter what speed you're traveling.
Casey Mears is in the garage under repair as we have the first caution of the day at Dover. One car contact against Sadler.
Brendan Gaughan to 77. Caution is out.
Still coming. All right, you clear low right there. Clear low, get rolling.
Lap 38, second caution of the day.
I don't know what happened to the 38, but he went up and caught the 77. So I don't think the 77, I think he was a victim.
Let's mark it as the third caution, counting the safety caution at lap 30 as the second. So third caution for Elliott Sadler and Brendan Gaughan.
Both cars were damaged pretty heavily, especially the 38 car.
Darrell, it's hard to spin here and not get damaged pretty heavily, isn't it?
Just don't know which way to go. You know he's going to go up, but you don't know how long he's going to be there. Whoa.
Did he and Kurt Busch get together?
Yeah, they did.
Brendan Gaughan to 77, nowhere to go. Look at Jamie McMurray to 42, just barely gets by.
That was a good move. Yeah, it looked like Kurt Busch tapped the back of the 38 car.
Murray and Jimmy Johnson making evasive action. Let's watch from Dale Jr.'s view.
Down on the apron.
DW, that's why I like that strategy of those 7 cars. They're up there at the front, out of the eye of the storm.
Sadler headed for the garage. Kevin LePage on pit road. We'll be right back. This is NASCAR on FX. Front straightaway, hard in the inside wall is Joe Nemechek.
And guess who won the battle?
Greg Biffle.
The field freezes at lap 158. And Greg Biffle, we believe, will get the free pass as Joe Nemechek brings out the 5th caution of the day. That was a wad of cars coming off turn 4, and most everybody straightened out except Joe.
You know at Dover, that caution can come at any time.
Oh, yes. Like I said, these things will snap out from under you, and sometimes you don't know why.
Darrell, let's see what triggered this with Nemechek.
Terry Labonte there with him. Ooh, Terry. Goodness
and
gracious.
you see Terry Labonte in the 5, Sterling Marlin in the 40. You see who's right behind them. They were in desperation. The leader, Tony Stewart, they were about to go a lap down.
Okay, you get a little frustrated with somebody you're faster than they are. They're holding you up.
But I wonder, Darrell, if that was much like what we saw in turn number 2 between Biffle and Sadler. As Nemechek came off the corner, did he have to lift?
Pretty far off.
Labonte's foot was in the gas.
Pretty far up off the corner there.
About a third of the way down the straightaway.
Yeah, he was on the straightaway.
Oh, and there, Tony Stewart right behind them, about to put them a lap down.
That's what Tony calls it. Well, I ain't going to say that.
Ain't going to go there,
no,
are you?
No, take that back. Strike that.
Well, Labonte and Sterling Marlin do stay on the lead lap. And Joe Nemechek will head for the garage.
This team has had a tough time these last few weeks. They lost 2 cars out there at the All-Star weekend. Hard crash here today. One of the Armed Forces cars.
Yeah, and I tell you something, Larry. I think I've seen it with a lot of different drivers. You get in that crash cycle, and it seems like you're a crash magnet. Every time you turn around, you're getting into something, and it's usually no fault of your own. But you drive, so once you wreck a time or two, you start to drive cautiously, and you find yourself in more trouble.
Yeah, that was well up on the straightaway, well off the corner.
Now, only the 2 drivers know for sure. Jeff Gordon has knocked the wall down in turn number 2.
Down he goes. He's been talking about the car being a little tight. You see the tire fly apart.
It's like you saw the car not turn, then you saw it come apart right there, and that is a hard lick, and there is not any safer barriers here.
heavy damage to the right front of Gordon's DuPont Chevy. The crowd very vocal in their reaction, and here's Rusty's look at it.
Oh, man. Oh. I tell you, from a driver, you got the wheels turned left, you're going up the hill, and about that time, she lets go.
I fail to understand why so many people cheer Jeff Gordon's misfortune.
I don't get it either.
But he has brought out the 6th caution of the day. And we'll get with Steve Burns as we await pit stop. Steve?
Jimmy Johnson saying his car is late exit tight, Mike. They're going to take 2 pounds out of the left rear tire as he hits pit road. They're also going to make an adjustment on the Panhard bar. Right side tires going on. The chassis adjustments are made. And they turn their attention to the left side of that race car. And Johnson is away. Dick.
Ryan Newman was running 4th when that caution flag happened. He has had terrific pit stops all day long. The car is a bit tight either by himself or in traffic. They're going to try to fix that. Matt?
Tony Stewart, the top of your screen, they made a track bar and wedge adjustment. They backed off the track bar adjustment they made before. 15 and change for Stewart, 14.4 for Casey Kane's team. His car was a little free on that last run.
I tell you what, I believe one more stop, I believe the 48 car will win the battle off pit road, because he almost beat Tony Stewart in that 20 group that time.
Well, there's only one other better pit than the one he has, and that's one Tony has, so it's coming out about equal.
Battle of the pit boxes. There you see his pit time right there.
So Jeff Gordon has triggered the 6th caution of the day, cutting down a right front tire and taking a hard hit into the turn 2 wall.
Welcome back to Dover, Delaware, and this is Avisa Race Break. 226 laps of 400 on the Monster Mile, and Tony Stewart, who has completed all but 7 laps this season, is dominating here, although with pole sitter Jeremy Mayfield, he gave him the pass early.
Yeah, he said, hey, come on, buddy. You're a little bit quicker than I am. Go on by. And later on, Jeremy returned the favor by letting Tony back on the outside of him. So a lot of respect between these 2 guys.
And you got to have respect for the Monster Mile. The walls, no safer barriers yet. They'll be here later on. That was Joe Nemechek and Jeff Gordon moments ago in turn 2, the right front tire. A 4-time winner here. Jeff Gordon, the only active driver to lead more than 2,000 laps here at Dover. And let's check in on Jeff Gordon with Matt Yoka.
Jeff watches his team start.
Great race for Bill Davis today.
Oh, now Ryan Newman's in trouble pit road. Into the barrier.
I'm going to say that's going to be borderline. The caution is out. The caution is out.
I think
keep going, run right through the pit.
The reason the caution's out is he hit the tires down there and knocked some of them out in the race.
Okay.
You may not believe this, but Mayfield may have just stuck the whole field lap down. We'll see when he comes around how scoring sorts it out.
This right here is what caused the caution. Not you, Jeremy.
There should be a penalty on Ryan Newman because he came onto pit road and he hit the commit cone.
Oh, well, then they called Joe Nemechek for that a couple of races ago. And they asked at the drivers' meeting, and David Hoot said twice, you must enter pit road between the cones. So here's Newman again coming in fast.
And you get down here, he's a little hot. He picks up all that debris that's on the apron right there. This bad boy is going around and around.
There's the cones he hit.
And ooh, well, he was.
And there's damage to that car too from those tires.
He was really lucky there wasn't more damage over there. I believe he just kind of bent her up a little bit.
As he came to pit road, he and Dave Blaney were the last 2 cars on the lead lap to pit. So we'll see how this sorts out with scoring and how the penalty might be applied. Right now on the scoreboard, Ryan Newman remains the leader.
I expect we'll have to adjust that.
Because the rule is you cannot even touch those commit cones. It had to be scary for Dale Jarrett's crew there with all that going on right there on their heels.
Because things have changed since, I can't tell you who would be the free pass car, because Newman and Blaney at that
flag out. I don't know if he's going to open the pits or not. I'll keep an eye on him.
They had everybody a lap down because everybody else had made green flag pit stops. So this may take just a little bit of sorting out, as pit road right now is closed.
Another fine mess you got to see too.
321 miles complete in the MBNA America 400. 79 to go. the teams may have made their final pit stop of the day, since most of them were just in. We'll see if anyone elects to come back in under this caution flag, but they were on pit road just a couple of laps ago.
I would believe Rusty Wallace would be one that would come to pit road, because this would put him in the window to get to the end.
Those are stacks of tires tied together to protect the entrance to pit road, the water from the rains over the last couple of days here. They'll clean that up to get us back up to green. Ryan Newman brings out the yellow.
On the outside, and here comes Jimmy Johnson in as well. Jeremy Mayfield.
Oh, trouble in Blaney. Michael Waltrip and Blaney got together. There goes Blaney into the wall.
There goes everybody.
Yeah, Ryan Newman's in it. Greg Biffle.
48 car.
Half the field, it looks like.
And the 9th caution of the day will be huge.
40, 41, 31, 0.
When the leader restarts in the middle of the pack, this is frequently the result.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'd almost bet you that something like this might have happened.
And Tony Stewart, a lot of those cars, Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, they will be back on the lead lap. Look like every car has driven away except for Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, and Dave Blaney.
Johnson had a car that might have won it. And Mayfield, who was the leader, is now wrecked. And of that group, I feel worse for Blaney, who in a part-time ride for Bill Davis was having the best race of his year.
Well, you got to feel sorry for Jeremy. He got boxed, and he couldn't go, and that's what that got him in a position where he got in that wreck.
I don't know how much damage he has. The problem is it's rained here for a day and a half, and he's stuck in the mud down there.
The dirt is so soft there. The ground is so soft. That front valence, Larry, must be all torn up, too. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but look at the back end. That looks like a car that could finish the race if they could just get it out of the mud.
Rusty's got damage on his car. 97's got damage on his.
Ricky Rudd.
0 does. Ford Burton. Rusty's got quite a bit of front damage. Of course, the pits is closed, so they can't come in and work on them right now.
And the field is being held in the front straightaway. Here's what happened.
Oh, they're just 3 wide down through there, and Blaney's trying to give the guy on the inside room, and he got into Michael.
There you see Greg Biffle gets to the back of Jimmy
Did you see
Johnson.
the 9 car shoot through there?
Hard to believe.
Wow, I can't believe he made it.
Matt Kenseth got through. Ward Burton stopped with minimal damage. Mark Martin stopped. But
see, they go 3 wide, and Blaney tries to move over to give the 22 car some room, and he and Michael come together.
Darrell, I wouldn't want to be at the team meeting Monday at Bill Davis Racing, because it was Scott Wimmer who, trying to come up the track to get an entry into turn 3, caused Blaney to swerve to the right.
Here they come down the back, and they get 3 wide. I don't know what happened.
And I'm mistaken. Wimmer stayed low on the bottom of the racetrack, out of harm's way. My mistake.
It's just too many cars going in the same spot.
Jeremy Mayfield, the 19, finally gets out of that mud over there. He's coming down pit road right now as we speak. See Ryan Newman in the 12 as we're riding with Greg Biffle right here.
Let's ride with Rusty. From the back of Michael Waltrip. Ricky Rudd. Rudd might have missed it, but got hit from behind. Watch this.
A bunch of guys do. They get hit from behind. The 42 gets turned. He gets into the 97. He gets into the 19, into the 2, into the 40, into the 43.
Jeff Burton, the 99, just skimmed by.
12 into the inside fence.
Jimmy Johnson's fiance looking on as a race that he might have won.
He's trying to crank the thing up.
And that car has still not moved from between turns 2 and 3.
I mean, what a run he has been on. Is that right now under red flag, these teams cannot work on these race cars, but Jimmy Johnson, 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, 6 consecutive top 10s. He has been on a roll here lately, but it will not happen today.
Dover did him in last year. He spun off a turn 2 after coming from a win at Charlotte.
Greg Biffle's National Guard car headed for the garage.
Second car of the weekend.
Ricky Rudd, who looked like he might have missed it, but was one of those that got hit from behind. And Ryan Newman's bad day gets worse.
Going so well, leading the race, comes down to pit lane, hits the barrier, tire barrier, and from there on it's been all downhill.
From Dale Jr., there's Wimmer just ahead, and in the middle is Blaney. It just comes up into Michael.
Yeah, you know what happened, Michael, as I look back, Michael got loose off a 2. Lost his momentum. I believe Blaney thought he had him cleared.
And the drivers who make out best in this collision are Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, because they get to come around, not the free pass, but they get to come around and pick up the tail end of the lead lap, as the pace car will pick up Casey Kahne, the leader. Dick?
Well, Greg Biffle is here, Mike, and his car is really torn up. Left rear corner, right side door. Knows what happened out there, Greg.
I really don't know. Joel, my spotter, saw it early, you know, and he said, slow down, they're wrecking. And I got slowed down as much as I could. And I got run into right here in the left rear corner and shoved into the 48 car. I thought I was out of it, but then I got hit in the back here and shoved into the 48. And you know, I feel bad for all the people involved. We had a decent car. Unfortunately got a lap down, but we had a decent finish coming anyway.
Feel bad for a lot of people involved indeed.
Dick, what's going to be interesting as we watch Greg Biffle get sent into Jimmy Johnson and then pile driven into 5 more cars like a pinball, is that with so many cars involved, anybody that can get out of the garage and just run 2 or 3 more laps could pick up as many as 15 positions. Steve.
And Mike, Ryan Newman has just come out of the care center. Ryan's a tough day. What happened at the end?
I don't know about that. I ran out of talent there coming down the pit road, and then got penalized for something. I'm not real sure yet. Expected to stop at the end of pit road on a dime when we got a 3,400-pound race car. There was a big crash down in turn 3 that I don't know whose fault it was, but it took out a bunch of cars, and ours is junk. That's pretty much it. Good day for the Auto Dodge other than that.
Thanks, Ryan.
Boy, that's putting a fresh coat of paint on a torn-up race car, isn't it? Good for him. I'll tell you. Here's Steve again.
And we just caught up with Dave Blaney. Dave, you had a great day going. Tell us what happened there at the end.
Yeah, that spoiled a great run we had going. I don't know. I couldn't tell if 25 hit the 15 or 15 just lost it or what, but it's all scrambling to get by and didn't make it.
All right, thank you, Dave. Tough day. Let's go to Dick.
Sterling Marlin and what's left of Sterling Marlin's car. What did it look like to you?
A big wreck. Looked like it was a Daytona or Talladega. Yeah, we hated for everybody on the Coors Light team. Had a pretty good car. And I don't know if they had the score all messed up or what happened, but everybody wasn't lined up right, and somebody hung somebody, and the way we went must have took out 15, 20 cars.
Can this car be fixed? Can you get back out there?
Yeah, it busted the radiator, and the toe end's knocked out, so we'll get that fixed when we get back.
All right. Glad you're okay, man.
I admire Ryan Newman's candor. What race car driver hasn't at least said to himself a time or two, I ran out of talent? But it's going to be a short day for Ryan. Steve?
And you know where he's going? To work on the car.
Sure.
And Mike, Jimmy Johnson out of the care center. Jimmy, you guys had another great run going. What happened at the end?
I don't know. It just looks like some stupidity from some people up in front of us. You know, everybody gets caught down a lap, and then they throw their heads out the windows and race like a bunch of idiots. So it's just terrible. I mean, they're running along, having a good day, and 3 wide running into each other up in front of us, battling for, you know, they're all 3, 4, 5 laps down. Who knows? So just a terrible day, and I can't believe sitting here talking to you right now. Just stupid people out there not using their heads.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson trying for 2 in a row. Had a car and a position that, well, might have been.
You have to realize something. The driver is, I mean, so emotionally you're up, and you've got a great car, you're running up front, got a shot at winning, and then in just an instant, it's all snatched away from you right out. You just like kicking your feet right out from under you. And you can't help but react.
And Mike, you mentioned Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth got back on the lead lap. That will give us 4 cars on the lead lap. Kasey Kahne, Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. They're still trying to sort through who will maybe get the free pass, the pardon, back on the lead lap after this.
And you have to feel for these crews because, as you say, Darrell, in an instant, you go from a shot at victory to a pile of junk.
Yep. And, of course, every driver is big picture. They always think about what is this going to do to me in the points? What is this effect going to have to me at the 26th race mark? A lot of things go through a driver's mind.
Of the NASCAR top 10, Jimmie Johnson knocked out of the race in this. Jeff Gordon out early. Tony Stewart got a break. Ryan Newman right in the middle of it. We're under the red flag at Dover. Rusty Wallace just hit the wall.
No caution.
Shouldn't be. I don't think there's a. I don't see. There's some damage on the right front, but there already was damage on the right front.
The caution is out. That's a big break for Dale Earnhardt Jr. You just talked about it. He will get the pardon. He'll be back on the lead lap. And trust me, everybody on the lead lap will be coming, I think, for 4 fresh tires.
Okay, Rusty's still running. Didn't make further contact, so the caution must be for debris from Rusty hitting the wall. There's a look. Now you can see metal debris from behind the car.
Well, I tell you, I'm sitting there in the 9 car right now. I don't know what to do, because last week when he come in and put tires on that car, it took it too long to get going. Tony and them have already come in and gotten tires. I got to believe, if same old story, Larry, if the 9 comes, 6 and 20 stay out.
Kasey Kahne's crew chief, Tommy Baldwin.
I think he's thinking the same thing, man. This car, last week they put new tires on it. I think that's just tire rub. Cut a tire down. Got a lot of damage. Yeah, he's still going.
And Kahne and Martin pull away just a little bit from Tony Stewart, who fires it in
Kasey Kahne lost it.
Oh, there's oil. There's oil on the racetrack. Oil on the racetrack.
Mark Martin, Tony Stewart gets by. I think Matt Kenseth may have went up and brushed the wall.
Oh my gosh. I've never brushed the wall there.
Yeah, look, lots of damage.
He's killed that right front of that car.
What an incredible turn of events.
All that smoke from Casey Mears.
Yeah, I saw the sheet metal damage. I said, well, it's a tire rub, but man, he was putting oil down.
How close can you come to your first win and not get it?
Tommy Baldwin is just, he has no idea what has happened here.
Oh, that poor kid.
Boy, Darrell, I'd rather finish second by a foot like he's done 3 times than have it end this way, for sure.
No, he's got to be heartbroken.
This is incredulous. 18 laps to go. Matt Kenseth was on the lead lap. His car destroyed. Kasey Kahne was the leader. His car destroyed as they all flew off into turn number 3.
Here comes Kahne down into the corner, and you're going to see the car about right there. She takes off. Not too far behind him comes a whole bunch more. I think Mark and Tony may have seen what happened to him and got it to the inside.
This will show it right here, Darrell.
Martin and Stewart were just that little bit lower on the racetrack from Kahne, and they got through.
Just a little wee bit. Those are coil spring flying down through there. 25, who was having a great run.
Those are hopes and dreams flying down through there.
I mean, you just feel for that whole Evernham organization. They had 2 of the best race cars here today. Jeremy Mayfield gets caught up in that wreck, leading the race, and now Kasey Kahne gets caught up leading the race.
Kahne is now in the front straightaway, come down to the backstretch, come down to the bottom.
See that oil?
You can see the line of stuff right there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Goodness gracious.
You can see it coming all the way out of turn 2.
Yeah.
He did a nice job of not spinning out up there in his own oil.
Oh, well, do you know who is running 4th? Just to know, by the way.
Yeah. How about that? Well, car owner Ray Evernham with Matt.
And Ray, when you look at the drive that this young man put in today, 20 laps from the finish, can you describe the disappointment that you have for him knowing how close he got to his first win?
Well, both guys, you know, our Dodge dealers, UAW Dodges, were good today. The guys did a great job. Don't know what we got to do to turn it around, but just really appreciate Dodge and UAW and Valvoline, Mountain Dew. You know, I'm going to get my plugs in, you know, and Siemens, everybody that supports this. We had 2 great cars today, but, you know, they just sometimes they get wrecked unnecessarily.
You told me this morning you felt like the 19 needed to take it to another level, and they did that today. And the 9, they needed to reassess their expectations, and they did that today as well.
They did. It was really a good team day. We keep having good days, as I said, not getting the results, and sometimes it's not in your control, and I guess you just can't worry about those things.
And for Tommy, you've been in his situation before.
Yeah, it's you know, it's really tough. You get a lot of heartbreak in this business, and unfortunately, both of the teams got it today. But they brought real good cars. They brought winning cars, and you know, again, sometimes maybe a little bit mad, but sometimes just stupidity wrecks a lot of race cars.
Thanks, Ray. Dick.
Matt Kenseth has just watched his wrecked race car go by. How tough is this to take?
I'm just really aggravated. This is a bad time to ask me questions. You know, if I was a fan, I'd be mad. First of all, NASCAR spends 40 laps under caution, you know, screwing around for who knows what reason, if it's a scoring issue or what. Waste 40 laps doing that stuff, you know, of the race that all the fans can see a good race. And then this time a car blew up a half a lap before we got there, and they never threw the caution. They just let it go green until we all drove down in there and wrecked. So, and on top of that, I sat on the front stretch for a lap and a half, 2 laps, never saw an ambulance, still haven't seen one.
Matt Kenseth, tough finish to what had been a good day.
Here's Matt as he climbed from the car. His anger over the fact that Casey Mears had been putting oil down at the racetrack. And Darrell, that's a judgment call. You called it as tire smoke. Certainly it could have looked like that rather than oil smoke from any of the observer positions. And it's a tough call to make when you're 20 laps from the finish. Do you throw the caution? In this case, that would have been the right decision, but it's hard to second guess.
I think even looking back, if the caution had to come out, I think it would have been too late for Casey because the other Casey, Mears, was coming off of turn 4 as they were going into turn 2. So you got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
We've red flagged the race for the second time today. We are 17 miles from the finish. Brian Vickers' car appears to be finished, as is Kasey Kahne's and Matt Kenseth's.
That's about all the cars we got left.
4 cars are on the lead lap. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton. Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the free pass on the last caution, so he's a contender on the lead lap. And this time it'll be Scott Riggs in the Valvoline Chevy who gets the free pass, and that frees him from the clutches of Terry Labonte, Michael Waltrip, and Jeremy Mayfield, the other cars that are 1 lap down.
And you know, guys, we've been talking a lot, especially today, about our point situation. Mike, you were talking about it earlier before this wreck. When I look at the top 10 in points, the only 2 cars that have not been involved in an accident is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who came in here first in points, and Tony Stewart, who came in here 5th. All other 8 cars in the top 10 are either in the garage or out there very wounded.
Let's have a look at a couple of replays here. This is Robbie Gordon.
That's 3 Hendrick cars today.
Michael Waltrip. Onboard Dale Jarrett.
Just creeped his way through.
You know, as a Story in USA Today the other day about how baseball players will go and rub up against a player hoping some of their hits will wear off, somebody who's hitting well. I want to go shake hands with Jeff Burton. He has snuck through another one. How many has he dodged today?
He's had a good day all day long. You know, he led the race a little bit there early on, made some good calls in the pits, and finds himself sitting there in third spot.
The car right behind him, Scott Riggs, the 10 car, he'll be back on the lead lap. He gets the free pass. He'll be in 5th.
Red flag out, 17 laps to go, and still anything can happen. Though I can't imagine what hasn't happened yet.